Good evening, wonderful people, great Biafrans, wherever you are on the face of this very planet. We welcome you excitedly this evening to another presentation of Radio Biafra live broadcast, with the time now standing at approximately 5 minutes past the top of the hour in Biafra land, and the same number of minutes past the hour wherever you are domiciled on this very earth. We welcome you, and as we do so, we ask you to also welcome other people who will undoubtedly benefit from the redeeming grace of this very gospel we are about to disseminate this very evening. I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to some of you. Depending on where you are receiving Radio Biafra across a variety of platforms. Whichever way you have decided to join us today, endeavor to let those around you also know how to receive Radio Biafra. We are online. Radio Biafra is on 102.1, 102.2, 102.3 across Biafra land. We are also live on Facebook. We are on satellite. We have Radio Biafra app. If you wish to listen to us, if you wish to participate in this very program, there is nothing stopping you from doing so. That is why this very gospel must be preached unapologetically and without compromise. Wherever you are, we welcome you once again. My name is Nnamdi Kanu. I am the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, and by the grace of the Most High Elohim, on this very glorious Shabbat evening, I remain a humble servant of the wonderful people of Biafra. We have come that the truth might prevail. We have come that the veil of darkness may be removed. We have come that freedom might be enthroned, not just for this very age, but for every age after us, for every generation that will come after us. What we are doing is right before the sight of God in heaven and man on this very earth. Evil has come, the devil has come to destroy and to basically desecrate the high places of the Most High. They have come that day may turn to night. They have come to spill the blood of the innocent. They have come that truth may become lies, and lies accepted as truth. But insofar as, inasmuch as we live and we breathe, this very noble family of IPOB will not allow evil to prevail. Wherever we see injustice, we fight it. It doesn't matter if that very injustice is being foisted upon those that we may ideologically disagree with. Therefore, this evening's broadcast is exceptionally important. It is very, very critical that you attend with your pen and your paper as usual, and a great dose of common sense to add. Before we proceed, we must pray. I understand that the whole world is listening, including those in the Far East, those in Japan, those in Australia, those of you in New Zealand that I will be meeting very shortly. Everywhere is a commitment for the upcoming tour of the Far East and Australia. Before we go any further, Chukwukika Biama must accept every praise, every honor, and every adoration. We pray as we always pray each day before we come on this noble platform and when we are on it, that we are nothing before the sight of the Most High, because only Him liveth from eternity to eternity. We are mortals and we are flesh. We come and we go, but the words of Chukwukika Biama shall remain forever. we must bow down our heads in prayer as the ancients did. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. And we shall say of Elohim, He is our refuge and our fortress. He is our God, and in him we trust. Not in any man, not in any flesh, not in any carvings made by the hands of men. Our trust is in the Most High Elohim. Surely, Chukwokika shall deliver us from the snare of the fowler, from the Fulani pestilence. He shall cover us with his feathers, and under his wings we shall lie protected. The truth that Chukwokika has given to us shall be our shield and our buckler. We will not be afraid of the terror from the Fulanis by day, nor from their AK-7s at night. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter how they do it. One thing is obvious. One thing is undeniable. Men will fall and men will die as they are doing right now. But nothing shall befall IPOB. For Biafra shall emerge, and with our eyes we shall behold the beauty of this coming nation, the emergence of true freedom in Africa, the light of the black world, and the path through which progress can be made possible in sub-Saharan Africa. Our enemies shall never devour us, and we shall live to see what shall become of them. Because Chukwokika Biama is our foundation, because he is our refuge, because upon him have we anchored our hope, no evil shall befall us. No evil that can or will overwhelm this very genuine agitation, this very effort to restore the kingdom of heaven upon the face of this very earth. Elohim has given instructions to the angels. There is nothing our enemies can do to dampen our spirit, because the love of the Almighty is upon us, and he shall deliver us. He will crown our efforts with glory, and we will call upon him and he will answer, as he's answering us this very day. In times of trouble, as it is at this very moment, he is with us. That is why the Fulani murderous machine will never ever overcome us. Because Biafra shall remain, because Biafra shall live, and there is nothing our enemies can do about it. We shall prevail, that Elohim's grace may dwell upon the lives of his children, upon this very noble IPOB family, not just today, not just next week, not just next month, nor next year, but forever and ever. We pray this very evening. He said, For some reason, you must bear with us. We are having very serious interruption very evening in terms of our network. It is not beyond the zoo to keep attacking our efforts, but we shall proceed because I understand that the signals are clear, live and direct. For some reason, for some inexplicable reason, I don't know if our Facebook connection is still there, if it is working, but we shall proceed all the same. This is Radio Biafra. We are live and we are direct. And today is Saturday, the 27th day of July, in the year of our Most High Elohim 2019. The time now is approximately 16 minutes past the top of the hour, regardless of where you are. Everybody is aware. If you do not know, then you are deceiving yourself. Everybody is aware of what has been happening in the damnable Zoological Republic, of the evil that has been perpetrated or is being perpetrated on a daily basis against the innocent, against the meek and the very humble. To protest is a crime in the zoo. To agitate is a crime in the zoo. To hold any opinion that differs from that of the Fulani is a crime punishable by the courts in that very cursed land created by the British for the destruction of the soul and spirit of enterprise of a black person. And this evening we look at the case of the proscription and the tagging of terrorism against the Shia sect, the IMN Islamic Movement of Nigeria. Just as was the case with us in IPOB, the indigenous people of Biafra, the activities of Shia Muslim sect, which compels and must add very quickly, everything that the Shia movement or El Zagzagi's group has been doing has been within the confines of the law. That is the truth. Anybody who observe or has taken time to observe G7 summit, G20, G40, name it, anarchists protest. They destroy properties. They agitate very violently. None of them is locked up. None of them is imprisoned. Nobody opens fire on them. Not at all. But only in the zoo. And I keep wondering, why is it that the Europeans that gave us all that we know in terms of modern governance do things differently from we in Africa? I know where the blame lies, and I shall be apportioning that very blame this evening. There is nothing wrong with what Shia has been doing, what the group of El Zagzagi has been doing. We have been at the forefront of campaigning for the release of El Zagzagi and also the release of Dasuki. The courts have given order after order for them to be released, but they have not obeyed that court order. But surprise, surprise, they went back to the same court to go and get an order to proscribe the Shia sect and to sustain the legally unsustainable, which is the incarceration, illegal detention, I should say, of Sheikh El Zagzagi. Some people wonder why we have chosen this path. Some people wonder what IPOB is up to. Why are we supporting the Shia movement, the Islamic movement of Nigeria? The reason is very simple, because we are Biafrans, we have conscience, we have a soul. We reject injustice. We repudiate everything that has to do with injustice. You cannot regard yourself as a human being when you see evil being perpetrated on a daily basis to the detriment of the entire society, and you keep quiet because you hold a divergent opinion from whoever is being afflicted. Then Zagzagi must be released, and the tagging of the Shia group as a terrorist organization cannot hold water. Not now, not today, not tomorrow, not ever. It can never ever stand. It cannot hold. Because it's based on falsehood. You arrested a man, you killed 7 of his children, you killed 1 of his wives, critically injured about 2 others, you left him blind in 1 eye, and the court have said to you, this man should be released. You did not obey that court order. But when you went behind people's back as you normally do, to go and obtain an expatriate order, whatever rubbish you call it, in the damnable zoological republic, expatriate motion, I have to be grammatically exact. How come I can do that? How come you are now obeying a court order that says that El Zagzagi should be locked up indefinitely? That the Shia group in Nigeria should be tagged a terrorist movement? So all of a sudden, you now obey court judgment. What is the difference between the pronouncement of this very judge and the other judge that gave bail to Zagzagi? What is the difference? Are they not coming from the same high court of Nigeria? Is it the same high court they're coming from? So one judge you decide to disobey, the other judge you decide to obey. Because this very judge, this one that granted this expert motion, is in your pocket. You have intimidated the idiot to the point whereby they now preside over impunity. Or maybe you have bribed him with a house in Dubai as you normally do. And as I said, I will come to who is to be blamed for this whole nonsense. The Shia group has done nothing wrong. Absolutely nothing wrong. They are agitating. If a child is 9 months in the stomach and the mother refuses to give birth to that very baby, the mother will die. The child will agitate until the mother dies or gives birth to it. That is how nature is. There must be freedom, for goodness sake, in Africa. I mean total freedom, not selective. You don't decide those you give freedom of speech to, those you give freedom of association to. You don't decide who you give freedom. Freedom is universal. What is good for the geese is also good for the gander. If you want freedom, you must allow that freedom not only to exist, but to be exercised, even when you disagree with it. That is what makes you a human being, not the animals that we are in Africa. It is very, very disgraceful. And I'll get to that later as to who is to be blamed for this whole nonsense. They proscribed IPOB, you all kept quiet. They have proscribed the Shia sect. That means you can no longer protest in the zoo unless they are in agreement with you, unless what you're protesting for is in conformity with the government position. And to make matters worse, all this nonsense is being presided by somebody from Sudan. That is the most painful, difficult aspect of it. Abba Kyari and El Rufai is messing with the brains of everybody. Of every individual in this zoo, your brain is being messed up by Abba Kyari, El Rufai, all because Tinubu wants to be president. Because of that, the dominant Yoruba media have kept quiet. Telling you, we black people, we are demented. We are not well. We don't understand the very simple, basic tenet of democracy. You must obey court order. You must obey it. You must, even if you don't like it, you have to obey it. But in the zoo, you don't. Abba Kyari and the Fulani Cabal, they decide. Because they are Sunni Muslim, because of that, we must clamp down on Shia. We must destroy them. Who told you that? Religious belief is not something you can eradicate. It's impossible. It is simple. You cannot do it. The Constitution of the Zoo guarantees freedom of religion. If somebody wants to worship, how can I put it, a sewage system, God, Nukugota. They want to go there and be praying. That is their business. It has nothing to do with you. If they want to practice their sheer aspect of Islamic religion, that is entirely their business. It's not your business. And trying to claim that they have a tie to Iran as justification is rubbish. Holds no water. That means you don't understand what freedom is all about. IPOB supports Israel, and we do so till the day we die. We will continue to support Israel. It doesn't matter. That is our view, and we are entitled to it. Not because you have one thing or the other against Israel. Because of that, you hate IPOB because of it. That means you're being very foolish. As long as I'm aware, Iran has never attacked anybody or killed anybody in the zoo. That is the truth. That is, you may not like it, but it's the truth. The people actually doing the killing, nobody is proscribing them. Are you sure that Nigerians are here? Where is people from? The people killing you every blessed day, they are not the terrorists. Where is your... Hey. Why did God create me a black African in the midst of people whose stupidity is beyond, it has fallen off the scale where it can be comprehended? Our stupidity and hopelessness is so bad that I cannot begin to define it. I can't define it. What did El Zakzaki do? Someone should tell me what the Shia did in Nigeria to warrant being tagged the terrorist group. That's IPOB. What did they do? The police has killed nearly 3,000 of them. You expect them to wait each time to be slaughtered? Is that what you're thinking? Are you normal at all? Chineke, and this UG, black people are useless. I'm saying this on the radio station being listened to all over the world, and I'm letting everybody know that blacks in Africa, we blacks, our brain is not complete. You cannot begin to convince me that black people are human beings. It is impossible. With what is happening in Nigeria, what is happening in Africa, a black man is useless. Beyond useless. Beyond useless. Fulani militia are killing you. Fulani headsmen are slaughtering and raping our mothers. Our land is being appropriated by force and being given to them. You have not complained. You have done nothing. And you have the temerity to rise up to speak against here in Nigeria. It can never be well with you and your family. You people are evil. I said it before and allow me to repeat. You see God in heaven, when they say that God knows everything, the beginning and end of everything, from tonight you must believe it. Do you know why Africa is poor? Africa is poor because we are a wicked race. The black race is the most wicked race on this earth. Wicked, stubborn, and evil. That is why we are suffering. That is why there is no electricity, no light, no good, because inside the heart of a black person is evil and darkness. Evil and darkness. A man lost his children, 7 of them, killed by this same Nigerian army. Killed by this Nigerian army. Over 3,000 followers slaughtered. Nobody can point to one terrorist attack by the Shia. Nobody can. There is none. The Fulanis who are killing you, Fulani headsmen. Oh dear, Chineke, are you in heaven at all? Is there God in heaven tonight? Because if there is, Africa ought to be destroyed. Africa is full of the evil and and ignorance in Africa is indescribable. Indescribable. You people are evil. Blacks are evil. I'm telling you, evil beyond comprehension. And God will destroy the black race. We shall remain slaves to the wise forever and ever. As long as we continue to reason this wickedly, it can never be well with black people. I tell you, we are evil. The man is blind in what? There is no compassion. No single compassion. Nobody is moved by the plight of this man. All you think about is Iran. You think about Shia. What nonsense? What planet are you living on? What planet are you living on? Blacks are to blame. Your so-called Nigerians are to blame for this very mess. So also is the American ambassador to Nigeria. So also is the British High Commissioner to Nigeria. These are the people supporting evil. When Obama came to remove Jonathan, I told you that Obama would remove Jonathan, and Jonathan was removed. Look at where we are today. People will come into my village with AK-47, rape my mother, slaughter us, and they give them land. Somebody is simply protesting, release my leader. Not that they are protesting against any court order or court ruling or judgment. They are asking you to obey what your court said. You refused. You responded by killing them. And you went back to the same court, the same Federal High Court of Nigeria, in the same Abuja, to go and obtain an order proscribing his group. The same law, the same judgment you said you will not obey. You are now going back to obey the one that suits you. And you're telling me that Nigeria is a nation, that Nigeria is a country? This black people. Do you now begin to see the reason why God looked at us and said, you people are evil? Because of that, I'll make you slaves to whites. Do you see why we are suffering? Because your heart is evil. You don't reason properly. These are people who can, because Yoruba media wants 2023 for Tinubu to be president, they condone every evil. And if Yoruba nation does not take time, I tell you tonight that evil shall overcome Yoruba land. I say what I say with justification. I will read the coverage of Punch newspaper. Punch newspaper, Yoruba paper. Oh God, you people are satanic. You are evil, the personification of the force of darkness. You people are evil. Evil. Evil is happening and you keep quiet. You cannot confront Fulani headsmen. Oh, I don't know why God brought me to Africa. I don't know why. I should have come as a tree in the forest. Maybe they cut me down and use me as for center table. I'll be useful at least. Do you see why God said you must be under Europeans? Asia is progressing. South America is progressing. The only place not growing in the world is Africa, because you people are evil. You support evil. Your heart is black as we are. Evil, darkness. What you telling? You are in a country where your so-called president from Sudan decides which judge am I going to obey. I don't like this ruling, I want to obey it. I like this one, let me obey it. And you people are keeping quiet. You are quiet and evil is happening. And you're telling me you're educated. You're telling me you have conscience. And tomorrow you go to church. Oh dear me. This assignment is too much. I tell Elohim it's too much for me. I cannot come from a continent where people cannot reason, where there is no conscience, where wickedness and evil is the order of the day. The black race is a disgrace to humanity. The black race is an eyesore on this very earth. I tell you that. It's an eyesore. Evil is happening and you're quiet. Because Zagzag is not your brother, not your sister. Do you know how people feel about your religion? Do you know how they feel about you and your religion? People will have the guts in America to complain about racist attacks. Oh, that the West are attacking with the racist. I wish they can kill all of us there. I'm telling you the truth. We don't deserve to be alive. Black people do not deserve to walk. We are a stain on the earth. Our wickedness stinks to high heavens and back. We are an evil race. Quote me, that's what I said. Mark the date of today. In any other country on this earth, what Jubril did, we will send him back to Sudan immediately. How can you decide which judge to obey? That idiot that didn't go to school. Malami is saying, if not for what I've been doing, detaining people without trial, there will be no Nigeria. Nigeria for whose benefit? For your benefit and for some Yoruba people. For the benefit of those that make billions from oil and gas from Biafra land. That's all. That some idiots are too blind to see it. They say I should speak like a head of state. Which stupid head of state is that? Which useless head of state is that? In a place where people cannot reason like human beings. You never head of state. Oh dear Lord, have mercy. We are an evil race. Anytime you see another black person being killed in America, know that God is punishing you for what you have done because you're evil. Evil beyond evil. I'm telling you. And who brought this nonsense on us? It's not Obama. He's not a black man. Who brought this mess into this? It's Obama. Isn't it? And they ran to the British to sustain what is unsustainable. Everybody knows that Buhari is dead. They know it. Everybody knows. Yoruba media knows. Everybody knows. But because you don't want Nnamdi Kanu to be proven right, you don't want IPOB to be proven right, you have decided to cover up evil. It will consume you. Yoruba media will suffer. Yoruba media will suffer. They will suffer and they will suffer for this injustice they keep on against ordinary people. Poor people. In your journey, my blanket. Because you control newspaper. Your preachers are in Pentecostal churches. They tell the idiots what to do and they obey them. They cannot rise up from the pulpit and speak the truth. Because Zagzag is not a Christian, he's not a Pentecostalist. Let's leave him to die. You are evil. You are beyond evil. We are a useless race. Black race is a disgrace on humanity. White people can never allow such nonsense to happen. It doesn't. Instead, everybody will die. They can't allow it to. That's the difference between you and whites. Whites cannot allow this nonsense to happen. It won't happen. Don't tell me about cases during slavery. It was our idiotic ignorance and wickedness that allowed God to hand us over to whites to enslave us. We are wicked. We are a wicked race. That is why we are suffering. I must continue because the truth must be spoken on this very platform. Your Zoo Constitution guarantees freedom. Freedom of worship, freedom of speech. The right to even protest is there. They don't obey their own laws because they don't know. When you appoint a chief justice who is more or less, how can I put it? Okay, myself, like a native doctor. This is the nonsense you get. Now you're telling me in a country that claims it practices democracy that you can choose which of the judges to obey his or her ruling and which one to ignore. Is that what you're telling me? The same court you said I will not obey your order. You went back to the same court to go and obtain an order to keep somebody in prison in perpetuity and to ban his movement. Hey, we blacks have taken wickedness and impunity to a different level altogether. That is what we have done. We have redefined wickedness. I never believed in my life that Africa can be so, not just back, of course we're backwards. Who doesn't know we're backwards? We have added another layer of evil to it. No wonder Michael Jackson was bleaching himself to be white. I do apologize to Michael Jackson. I have now seen what he saw. Michael Jackson was trying to make himself white because he looked at us and knew that we are evil. This UG, evil upon evil. You claim you're fighting corruption. All those you are appointed are corrupt individuals. Buhari, before he died, they got into power on the back of corrupt money, River State money stolen by MH. Today, Buhari's son is the fourth richest person in Africa. And they're fighting corruption. You people are useless. Hopeless to the core. Quote me right is what I said. You're hopeless. Shia Group, IMN, Islamic Movement of Nigeria, or for Nigeria, I don't know what they call them, is not a terrorist group. It is not and can never be. For all that nonsense, people saying that tied to Iran and all that rubbish, that is bunkum. El Zagzagi, what crime did he commit? We shall get to that later. There is no other place on this earth a religious body has ever been prescribed, never. Not on this earth. All this nonsense with Shia and the Sunni Islam is their business. Nothing to do with the secular constitution. So when Jubril and when Abba Kyari and El Rufai crossing up to Saudi Arabia, don't you see it? When Obama was bowing before the king of Saudi Arabia, did you not see it? Did not see it. I'm sure you didn't. You people are cowards. There is no place on this earth, not even in Saudi Arabia, can you ban. Do you know they have Shia in Saudi Arabia? Have they been banned? How can you go and take a leader of a movement and you expect them to keep quiet? Like what keeping quiet? That's what you expect. You bring your wickedness and injustice upon the people and you expect them to just sit down and take it. The answer is no. Like IPOB won't take it. We will keep on agitating until we are free. Because one day everybody will die, isn't it? Nobody lives forever. Nobody does. So Biafra must come. The blame for what is happening, I don't call it zagzaggy. The blame for the injustice in the zoo that the British created is caused by 3 groups of people. Only 3. Our stupidity as black people. The British High Commission and the British Mission in Nigeria is satanic. Another one is the American ambassador to Nigeria. They collect money from Nigerian government not to send the accurate report back to their home countries. I bet you that the State Department in America does not know what is happening in the zoo. Because they embellish it. Is farmer header crisis. Is a clash. The police and the army came shooting dead Shia protesters. And you call it a clash between the two. The whole ambassador, American ambassador, is sending back, feeding the State Department in Washington lies about Nigeria. Because he's a millionaire. The same thing with the British. This is the level of evil and wickedness we have. American embassy in Nigeria, British High Commission in Nigeria, and the stupidity of black people. We are black and we are useless. Those are the 3 factors holding you down as a perpetual slave. I didn't say it's the American official policy or the British official policy. No. I said their missions in Nigeria. The American ambassador is corrupt. The British High Commissioner is more than corrupt. Nigeria, they should be probed. Nigeria gives them money. to lie and to falsify their mission reports back to their home countries. If you ask them now, they'll write. When you ask them, what happened about El Zagzagi? No, I think we sense some trouble. There may be a link with Iran. There may be a link. All lies. All lies. The U.S. Embassy takes the blame. The British High Commission and the stupidity of us black people, black Africans, we are useless. Stop pretending we are more than hopeless. Forget all the degrees, PhD, SSG, rubbish. We are useless. Useless. As black people, our natural disposition towards evil, you know, we love evil. This type of nonsense cannot happen in a white man's. It's impossible. You can't try that rubbish. I'm the prime minister, or as Trump is, you choose which laws to obey, which one. They will come to White House and control you out. He said they will bundle you, they will put handcuffs on your ankles and your wrist. In your next life, you won't mess up. You won't mess with the people. That's how it's done. Do you see how advanced whites are compared to you blacks? Because, you know, when you go to the court sometimes, some of you see the picture of a woman or statue. The woman is blind with a blindfold, with the scale on one hand and sword on the other hand. Some of you go to law school, you don't know what that thing means. They just say, they say law is blind. And look at the idiots. Do you know why they say it's blind? Because justice is blind. It doesn't matter who is affected. It doesn't matter if it's a Shia or IPOB or whoever. It doesn't matter. The law is the law. So when somebody who is a Sunni Muslim gets favorable ruling in the court, they release them. Those doing the killing in the zoo, they are all Sunni, Wahhabi, fundamentalists. It's okay. Give them more land. Why don't you dialogue with them? But once it's Shia, once it's IPOB, why didn't you go and kill them? After all, the American ambassador will say it's nothing. And that's what they do. Do you know before they came to invade my house that the British government was informed? And they came to go ahead to come and kill me? Are you aware of that? So I'm telling you live on air. Are you aware that the British government, the British High Commission in Nigeria, sanctioned my assassination? Are you aware of that? In time, all will be revealed. Our natural disposition towards evil and wickedness is why a Sudanese can do whatever he likes. Everybody knows he's from Sudan. Look at him and look at Buhari, and you will know. But your stupidity and your natural cowardice. You're a black person, you cannot reason. This OG, black and useless. Black and useless. We are black and we are useless to the core. If you support evil, anything I say about you, you should accept it with good grace. I'm telling you. How did it all begin? Some of you may ask this evening. How did we come to this stage of rejecting one judgment but accepting another from the same court, depending on the judge who is ruling in your favor? 7 out of 8 children of Zagzagi has been murdered by the Nigerian state. And you're telling me he doesn't have the right to be angry? But you won't see anything wrong with it because you're black. Anytime you go on social media, you see somebody not making any sense, that person is probably a black person. I come to my dear friend and brother. I'm borrowing what he wrote because it's correct. Fanika Yode. I'm borrowing what he wrote. You shot his wife in the stomach. The wife was shot 4 times and has been in detention till now. Not just like that, even the wife is also in detention. This man was shot and blinded in one eye. Zagzagi. It doesn't touch you because you're black. You know, as a black person, your heart is cold. Cold and blind to light. Because you're black from Africa. You are evil. You don't empathize. There is no empathy. You don't see. All you care about is, oh, who is winning? So since the Fulanis are now killing everybody and they're on top, let me support Fulani. You have no soul and you have no conscience. That is why God placed you. I'm asking God, but what did I do? Why take me to Africa? I'm still thinking and asking God, what did I do? Because I am better off as maybe as something that could be useful to humanity. We blacks, we are not useful to mankind. We are a waste of space. We are clogging up space for mankind. I'm telling you the truth. We are useless. You did all this to this man, and you think you will succeed. What is the crime of Sheikh El Zagzagi? You bring out, he had the same thing you did when I found BSS. He said, oh, can you see them? Can you see them? But you cannot see funny headsmen. You can't see them. They're the ones killing you and raping you every day. But you never learn. Because you're black and you're timid. I'm so upset tonight. I wouldn't normally do a program like this, but I am enraged. Enraged. Africa is a disgrace. Trump was thinking about, said he was going to, what he said was he was going to deport people from America. He should start very, very quickly. And he also banned some people from traveling for election rigging. And they said their politicians know. Every vice chancellor in the zoo and their families should be barred from traveling to the USA. And their children, excuse me, should be deported from America, all of them. They all should be deported back to come and face the consequences of the destruction their parents have wrought on ordinary people. Who are the ones that it's not the vice chancellors with PhD, emeritus professor, rubbish. But they were there rigging election for thugs and illiterates. Trump should hurry and deport everybody. In fact, every nation should, myself included. I don't exclude myself. We don't deserve anything good. We Africans are a disgrace to humanity. Big disgrace. We must remember that there was a time when Goodluck Jonathan was stoned when he went to campaign in the north. Did Jonathan open fire on the people? Did Jonathan ask anybody to open fire on the protesters? They burnt his posters, his billboards in the north. Did he open fire? If you're in the south, they will open fire and kill people. And you have one idiot who probably doesn't know his father. Somewhere either in Lagos or in Abuja, I think. Oh, but they shouldn't have stopped him. Do you know what is a protest? It is a right you have in the Constitution. And they tell you, oh, where one person's right stops, another one begins. That's trying to talk about law and morality. Where one person's right ends, another one starts. Some rubbish like that. So you won't allow Nigeria to fight for itself based on its laws. You are in your office somewhere in Abuja saying, what I'm doing here, by breaking the law, which is what detaining El Zagzagi means, by breaking the law, somehow you're keeping Nigeria one. And I remind my Yoruba brothers, have you seen what you have done? Because you have condoned and served the Fulanis for so long, you have strengthened them. Now, they personify impunity, and that impunity will consume you. What else will happen in Yoruba race? Your journalists are evil. Yoruba, I've been screaming and shouting, Yoruba journalists are evil. Until they repent and change, everybody will go down with them. Jonathan, on the 21st of January 2015, went to the north. Nothing happened to those that stoned him and burnt his effigy and his billboards. Jonathan did not retaliate. I was in detention in Kuje. not in Koja, sorry, at the DSS dungeon in Abuja, December 2015, when I received a message that they have massacred people in the north. I asked them why were they massacred. They said because Buratai was attending, wanted to go and see the emir of Zaria, if I recall very well. And his motorcade was blocked. He's an ordinary army chap, but he has a motorcade up to 50 vehicles long. That's Africa for you. Primitive idiots everywhere. His motorcade was blocked, and because of that, thousands were mowed down. Some of you saw only 2 days ago the motorcade of Boris Johnson, the new British Prime Minister, was blockaded. Nothing, before they ran away, they took another route and ran away. In Nigeria, you come out with soldiers, you have not even defeated Boko Haram. All your so-called insurgency and your brothers killing everybody everywhere, you have not been able to stop them. But ordinary people protesting, saying what is happening is not good, you open fire on them, and that makes you a general. Do you see why we Africans are fools? We always celebrate evil. And that is why evil is following us all over the place. And we keep wondering, oh, why are we not developed? I traveled to Asia. They have letters. Your stupidity is the reason why. But you will not see it. Because you're so helpless, you cannot see your own stupidity. We blacks are useless, I'm telling you. But today they have declared Shia movement a terrorist group because they don't like what they're doing. Release their leader according to court pronouncement. You're saying no, I won't do it. Because you are Sunni Islam, and they are Shia. You don't like them. Unbelievable. This is according to Yoruba newspaper, Punch, how they reported it. The Federal High Court in Abuja on Friday ordered the proscription of Shia movement as protest by the Islamic organization Rocks Abuja. A newspaper without soul or conscience is a Yoruba paper. No soul, no. They can never tell you. They can never write in the editorial and say to the government, what you're doing is wrong. Obey court order. No. Tinubu wants to be president in 2023, so why bother? Their project now is our turn. No, let's put Yoruba man there. Now we have reached an agreement. Oh, if Fulani rule small, Yoruba go rule small. That's what they're saying. And some idiots in the so-called Niger Delta who be talking rubbish every day. After drinking polluted water, they be talking nonsense. Let's continue. Saturday Punch reports that Justice Ntonye Maha, whatever, have you heard of the name Maha before? The person's name is Ntonye Maha, whatever that means. Because they know if they go to their favorite, what's their favorite is Kafarati. I will complain. They go to this one now. Ntonye Maha. I've never heard of such useless name before. Who answers Maha from Igbo land? Maha, Ntonye Maha. What is the meaning of Maha? These are the idiots that converted to Islam in order to be able to get 1 or 2 contracts. So they can come back to the village and answer to an affluent man. I ask him, does anybody answer Maha anywhere you come from? Maha, M-A-H, Maha, in Kenya, Maha. Unbelievable. This is a report by Yoruba newspaper. Let me go to the part that is quite interesting. They reported it. That's what when they are killing people, they don't report it. They say it's a clash between army and protesters. Clash. I see protesters have AK-47. The protesters have AK-47? The answer is no. El Zagzagi and the wife have been in custody since 7 months, since 2015. The Yoruba man went on to write about the affidavit, what happened and everything. I don't hate Yoruba race. My good friends are from there, very close friends, I hasten to add. But if I see evil, I say it. If I see injustice, I fight it. In Yoruba media, we are where we are today because of you. This same Yoruba media fought Abacha, you know, to a standstill. And Abacha was more ruthless in a dictatorship. All of a sudden, because of the promise of presidency, they have jettisoned every moral ground, every value they had. Because it's their turn to loot in 2023. Yoruba media. Yoruba media. Yoruba media. Yoruba media. Okay. Do you know, let me tell you, this is the part that got me very upset. It says, this is according to the court, what this Maha woman wrote. See, I said earlier that we blacks are evil. Even from a sitting judge in a court of law. I want to prove to you this evening how evil we blacks truly are. Listen to what she wrote. This is the judge that prescribed Shia. She said, the violent and aggressive activities of the members of the respondent, which is Shia group, under the guise of clamoring for the release of their leader, have not only heightened tension and insecurity in the country, but it is also earning the country negative rating globally. Shia protest is earning you negative ratings. Not Fulani headsmen, not your so-called bandits, not the corruption in the country, not you rigging election. Hey, this is from a high court judge in Nigeria. She went on to write, both the US and UK governments have already issued travel warnings on Nigeria on account of these violent protests. Is that true? Hey, they issued warnings because of Fulani. You people, what you're doing. Fulani headsmen. Fulani terrorists, all the way from Asarok. Fulani terrorists is the reason why warnings were issued, not here. And look at the way a Yoruba people reported it. As if it is true. This is the pronouncement of a judge in a court of law in the 21st century. Hey, I will continue. It recalled that before the July 27, 2019, the group's members in a violent protest on July 9, 2019, while trying to force their way into National Assembly complex, come to London and see what protest is. Some people are camped outside the Parliament in London, House of Commons and Lords, filthy looking. Go and touch them and you see what the law will do to you. Do you see? And then I'm sure this Maha, whatever she's called, went to school in America, or she will now tell you, I am Harvard Law, or Yale, or Stanford Law, and I'll be a tornado. There is nothing Harvard or Stanford or Cambridge or Oxford about we blacks. Look at all the landmark rulings of this world, ruling against the state. A judge will sit down and write his or her judgment and condemn an entire country and uphold the right of one single person. But here is because Madam Asorok wants to call you. It's your turn now to issue that what's it called? Expert motion. Or to hear it. That is why when I saw somebody just said in London a few years ago that when somebody says he's a professor and he's black, he will first of all slap him. Because it's meaningless. Yeah, black professor is useless. They have done anything. Something like with a judge. This is what somebody wrote that went to school. Lies upon lies. You were stopped from going to America because of your fraudulent election. Simple and short. You are blaming it on Shia. Travel warnings everywhere because of the kidnappings of Fulani headsmen. Fulani. Not because of Shia. But Yoruba people wrote it as if it's true. Oh dear me. Tomorrow they'll say, how can I hate Yoruba? All my best friends are from there, but I have to tell them the truth. The same way I'm telling the truth about us black people. I want to let you know tonight that God in heaven looked at the hearts of men and realized that in Africa, Africa is wicked, oh, very, very wicked, I'm telling you. That's why he said, you people will come last. You will be slaves to other nations. They will trample upon you because you are evil and you are wicked. They said that a judge wrote, in July 27, 2007, the group murdered a Sunni cleric in Sokoto. They have come. It's a battle between Sunni and Shia that they brought to the zoo with a British High Commissioner cheering from the side and American ambassador. They are getting their money every month. Every month they get their money. So it doesn't matter how many of you end up being slaughtered. The right answer is it's a minor clash. You know, this is access to water for the livestock. They need to drink water. The Nama need to drink water. You know, it's access to water. That's the problem. A whole ambassador trading in the blood of wretched, hopeless, ignorant, wicked Africans like us. And tomorrow you complain. Tomorrow you complain. You know, when they kill a black person in America, you start complaining. But when they kill in your village, you are clapping for Buratai and his troops. They have not won any war outside. They lost in Bakassi. They went to come up, they ran back. They have never served with distinction in any theater in the whole world. But they keep promoting them to general. Unbelievable. The stupid woman went on to write a whole lot of rubbish, which the Punch newspaper gobbled up without asking a simple question. What is it exactly that Zagzagi did that you killed his 7 children? What is it that El Zagzagi did that you locked him up? Somebody says, IPOB shouldn't get involved though because you're a fool. If you say IPOB, that means you're a fool and you're not IPOB. We can never support injustice. Impossible. It can never happen. The Biafra we are building, there will be no injustice. None whatsoever. That you may know that Chukwu Kikadiam is with us. We don't believe in evil. So El Zagzagi should then die. And the day they announce his death, like Leah Shuaibu, you write RIP. Oh man, may she rest well with Jesus in heaven. Jesus is on the right hand side of God. Leah Shuaibu will be on the left. You see how stupid you are? You see how hopeless you are? Can you imagine if Leah Shuaibu had died under Jonathan? What will happen? Oh, Beyonce will be everywhere. Everybody will be complaining. Are you complaining now? Are you complaining now? They moved heaven and earth to do their deal with their Chiboko girls. But this girl is dead, killed, rest in peace. You brought out her picture and you wrote RIP. Facebook that a white man invented. All we do is we consume. And sometimes we consume even ignorance. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. We must continue to do our work. I would give you the message raw, the way it comes. Even those of them that say they are prophets, have they been able to predict anything before? What we tell you here, it will happen. And I want to suppose. You see, with your 2 eyes, you see it. The level of injustice is too much. I'll go on to also analyze what my deputy, our deputy leader said, which I'm for. And I agree with him totally. He said, the real terrorists are in Asorok. The real terrorists are Miyetti Allah and their patron. And who is their patron? Buhari before he died, and Jubril. In fact, everybody who is a patron of Miyetti Allah should be arrested. And I have instructed our lawyers. We are going to write to USA State Department. We are going to list out all the patrons of Miyetti Allah, and that includes Jonathan. And we will be arguing very forcefully why they should be denied visa to America. Jonathan included. He's a patron of Miyetti Allah. Miyetti Allah is a terrorist group. Anybody who is their patron should also be regarded as a terrorist. They should. The Fulani herdsmen that you have killing and rampaging through our towns and villages, and now it was Yoruba that abandoned them bandits. Oh, don't stigmatize the Fulani race, including Koka, that man they say in Sokoto. Koka, Roman Catholic Archbishop inside the desert in Sokoto. And what I think he's suffering from sunstroke in the brain. His brain is not quite correct. Don't stigmatize them. But you stigmatize the whole of Biafra by prescribing IPOB. You are not stigmatizing every Shia in Nigeria. You banned a religion. It's simple unheard of before. Some of you are clapping because you are black, you are evil, you are wicked, and you are ignorant. And on top of that, you are cowards. You can't confront evil, can you? But we do here every blessed day. The real terrorist marked by Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association is the 4th most deadly terrorist group in the world. The 4th most deadly terror group in Fulani. The 4th most deadly terror group in the world. No court has prescribed them. The more they kill, the more land they give them. The more they settle them with your money. How should I say, with the money comes from Biafra land. The more Yorubas are waiting for Tinubu to enter office in 2023. Hey, this is black people. Anyway, you're not black for nothing. You know one thing about, I told you, my son Emeka wants to study, what's it called again? Is it astrophysics? Astrophysics. Because of that, I got interested in the cosmos, in heavenly and stellar bodies, and I started reading about black holes and all the rest of it. And the funniest thing is that this black hole, they are very massive, they are very powerful, they are very strong. They inhabit the center of every galaxy in the universe. And you know what they do? They consume, they don't give anything back in return. And they are black. Do you see how funny it is? Oh dear, the biggest object in the universe is black. It consumes everything and it gives nothing back in return. Just think about it. Or Google it and read up after this program. That may help you understand the state of black people. We are evil, honestly. A very wicked race. Arguably the most wicked race on earth is black. Very wicked. And you can say it is because of colonialism, Britain came and gave us the wickedness, yes. But we now modified it to suit our black nature. When you see something white, you say it's black. When it's black, you say it's white. And you studied at Oxford or Cambridge Law or Harvard or Princeton. This UG black. Unbelievable. Check him never. The U.S. State Department must designate Yala as a terrorist group. And the sooner that happens, the better for everybody. I am beside myself with rage this evening. It is up to our people. We are not only escaping ignorance, poverty, disease, and deprivation in the zoo. Now you understand why I said to you that Biafra means something more to us. Biafra is here to bring light where once there was darkness, or where there is darkness, because we're still fighting. We are the light, not just of Africa, but of the entire black race. During my tour of the US, I said I will fight this very battle to its logical conclusion. And the reason why things are the way they are is because most of those that lead you in the zoo, most of your judges, most of your police commissioners, most of those they promote in the judiciary and also in the military, their loyalty or their rise in power to Fulani patronage. And that is why impunity upon impunity is multiplying on a daily basis and nobody's doing anything about it. But we can do something about it. We can bring this impunity to an end, and we can do it collectively. I welcome the bold initiative from the leaders of the Middle Belt to disassociate themselves from the Fulani Core North. We welcome that. And I would like especially to commend the leader of the Middle Belt Forum for standing up to those blood-sucking demons from the north, Anga Abdullahi and co. If the Middle Belt is serious about wanting their freedom, then we will work with them to ensure that everybody is free. Only if they are serious. If they are serious, we will work with them to freedom. I've said it before, our fight is not about oil or gas. Our fight is about freedom. When Biafra comes, oil and gas will be handed over to United Nations Security Council plus Israel to oversee its distribution to every part that once constituted Nigeria. To let them know that we want, I don't need oil and gas to survive. Our brain is there. The greatest natural resource you can think of as a human being is your brain, not what is inside the ground, so that they have that in mind. During my tour of the USA, I did speak about making our people in America contribute towards this very effort. Some journalists called us yesterday and were crying. One of them said a piece of land, my brother is in the US, a piece of land he bought has now been occupied by Fulani headsmen. And everybody's looking up to IPOB to do something about it. And my response was very simple. So is IPOB looking up to those of them in America to support this very effort financially. They must support what we are also doing. And how are they going to do that? Our people in the Americas, if you have a brother, sister, uncle, aunt, no matter who they are, tell them that they are going to contribute $1 each. And this dollar they are going to contribute, it took us time to come up with this very idea to fundraise for our people. The $1 I asked everybody to contribute in America every month is not actually going to come from your pocket. It is going to come from Uncle Sam, which is the Inland Revenue Service of America, because it is tax deductible. What it means is that if you contribute $1 in if you're in America and you're working, and you contribute $1 every month, which is $12 a year, it will go a long way. And it's also tax deductible, which means you will get it back from the taxman. When you're filing your tax returns, you will be able to get that dollar back. So anybody who refuses to contribute towards this very effort, you know that the person wants those at home to die. That's all. It will defy not just logic and common sense, but it will take the wickedness of a black person to a new level. The money we are asking you to contribute $1 a month is not your money, but we are asking you to use your name to donate it to Biafra Aid Foundation in America. Understand me very well. The Biafra Aid Foundation has been set up as what the Americans call a 501c3 account at the Chase Bank in America. 501c3 means that every dime and nickel you donate is subject to tax write-off at the end of the year. In other words, at the end of the year, American government will say, oh, my dear brother or sister, I can see you contributed within this past year $12 only, or $12 every month to Biafra Aid Foundation. We are going to write it off. We will give you back the same $12 you contributed, and then we'll now assess your income tax or whatever tax that you pay in America. So what we're asking you to do is to, instead of campaigning for reparation for slavery, you can get $1 each and every Biafran or somebody from Middle Belt, or Yoruba for that matter, that wants to be free, because it's only IPOB that can do it. Only IPOB can set you free. Nobody else can. I say it with every ounce of conviction. Only IPOB. You can contribute only $1 a month, and it is subject to tax write-off, which means when you're paying your tax, they will disregard it. They will say, you contributed this, we're giving it back to you. Now we assess your account. You're not losing anything. So if your uncle, of course, some will come up with excuses. They tell us why they will not be part of it, as they normally do. They'll find an excuse. It's not done like that. No, you know me, I do my research very well. You are going to contribute only $12 every year, and that $12 is subject to tax write-off. It is tax deductible. When it comes to this now, they'll claim they don't understand the grammar anymore. But ordinarily, you see them blowing big grammar. It is tax deductible. In other words, we are taking this money from Mr. Trump and IRS in America, not from you. But we're only using your name to collect it. What you're doing, in essence, is taking $1 every month from America to give to Biafra. It's legal. Now you have no reason or need not to be part of it. There is an email address you can also use. I want it to be written down everywhere this evening and circulated appropriately. I want it written down and circulated. It is bear67foundation@gmail.com. As I'm making this announcement, I want our dear sister Nnamdi to begin to circulate this information immediately. Those of them who are in the USA manning this very account to start doing so immediately. BIA67 Foundation is BIA 67 then Foundation, which is FOUNDATION @gmail.com. They won't allow us to use anything else, so we're using Gmail for this. BIA67 Foundation @gmail.com. It is called Zeal, or ZEOL, then America will know it. You can also send a bank transfer using the routing route to indicate code route. The routing and account number is the routing number or routing number, they say in America, is 515-216-791. I repeat, 515 216-791. That is the routing number, maybe some sort of short code for them. And then the account number itself is 0720003226. I repeat, account number of this Chase Bank for their foundation is 072000300326, and the routing number or routing number is 515216791. I want these details provided to our mothers in America. IPOB Women in America is exceptionally strong, very formidable indeed. I want these details to be made available to every community, every association, every group, every individual in America, so that we know those to deport from Biafran airport as soon as Biafra comes. You know, before I said we deport people if they don't contribute towards this very struggle. Now we may even have to detain some people before we deport them back to the USA. These are the details for you to use to support this very effort, because nobody is going to do it for us. You can set up a direct debit, which they call a reoccurring contribution, so that every month you only $1. We're not asking, please don't contribute $5. No, don't. One only is enough. So that we can get this very job done and sweep away the janjaweed from the north. Again, it is what they call 501c3 account. Which means that every money you contribute, the taxman, Uncle Sam, as they say in America, will write it off. On a day when the injustice being meted out to El Zagzagi and the Shia is dominating our minds and our thoughts, I shouldn't be talking about fundraising. But we need to raise funds to continue to do the work that we are doing. And it's yielding fruit, I assure you, quite a lot. And there are a few issues I also like to clear up live on air, especially the responsibility of our people. In Houston, Texas, people should please listen very carefully. This is for IPOB, principal officers or servants as they call them in the USA. When I attended the town hall meeting in Houston, I made it very, very clear that those zones I created, their coordinators are supreme. There is no greater Houston gathering of IPOB, none. I did not set up one, and there will not be any. No greater Houston. What we have is Sugarland, Missouri, and all those places, and one coordinator for each of those places, and they are called zones. The coordinators reign supreme there. All of you now answer to the state coordinator direct, to the Texas State IPOB coordinator. No greater Houston, no other collection of people. Our coordinators must do their jobs, and also our mobilization team must also do their work and must be given access to every state to make sure that more families are being created on a daily basis. In IPOB, we live or die based on our disciplined structure. Without structure, we are nothing. We don't want to be like the zoo, where if you don't like one aspect of the law, you start rebelling and deciding which judge to accept his or her ruling or not. In IPOB, we are disciplined, and that is how Biafra is going to be. Everything ends insofar as the USA is concerned. At the office of the USA National Coordinator, he remains the #1 citizen insofar as IPOB is concerned. Because if anything goes wrong, we hold him responsible. The same way that we will hold responsible any state coordinator that we find wanting or lacking in the discharge of their duties and responsibilities. Thank you all very much for listening. And my tour of Australia, New Zealand, and Japan is coming up. And I hope there are people in the Far East and Australia that they're geared up for this, because there's a lot of work to be done. I thank you all very much for listening. And I want you to put El Zagzagi and Dasuki in your prayers. Put them in your prayers. And we must continue to fight until everybody wrongfully incarcerated is set free. This is Radio Biafra. And from me, from here, this evening, it is good evening.
He is our leader indeed. He is the spokesperson for all Biafrans. IPOB is being given the mantle to lead us to our freedom. And here is coming our leader, Nnamdi.
Kanu is another savior. Holy, holy, holy. Nnamdi Kanu is another savior. Holy, 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 holy. Nnamdi Kanu is another savior. Holy, holy, holy. Nnamdi Kanu is another savior. Holy, holy, holy. Nnamdi Kanu is another savior.
Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Brothers and sisters, here is our spring leader, Nnamdi Kanu. You know his value to us. We've asked you to do certain things. Please oblige. Thank you.
Yes, forever. IPOB,
One family.
IPOB,
One family.
IPOB,
One family.
one family,
IPOB.
One family.
IPOB.
One family.
IPOB.
I thank each and every one of you for coming to this very historic venue today. Today is a very special day for we Biafrans all over the world. In Biafra land today, the order to sit at home was obeyed by our people. But before I go any further, I must tell everybody here that I brought my wife with me.
We love you forever.
And I also brought my little one with me. Who was born when I was in prison.
Wonderful.
On a day like this, in this very historic place, we must do the needful. We must do that which is right before man and before God in heaven.
Yes. Forever.
For that very reason, we must pray.
Yes. Yes.
Because we are at the Martin Luther King Jr. Center. A man of conviction, a man of character, a man of destiny. And as the destiny of the black populations, we are changing this country. On this very day we proclaim, so shall the destiny of Biafra be changed forever and ever.
So shall it be.
I get this morning around 1 a.m. because we have not been able to sleep, I did a broadcast to our people back home to energize them, to enthuse them, to prepare them for this very holy day. And I started that by saying that Biafra is not an Igbo affair.
Never.
Biafra encompasses all the distinct nationalities in the eastern part of that damnable zoological republic, created without our consent, created without our input, and on this very day we reaffirm that that very bond of slavery, that very bond of oppression has been broken forever and ever.
So shall it be.
Some people think we are joking, but we are not.
Never.
Some people think our resolve can be weakened, but they are mistaken.
Yes.
Because this very mission to restore Biafra is unstoppable.
Yes.
The same way that the freedom in this very country for black African people was made possible, so shall our proclamation this very day make it possible for Biafra to be restored. Where is the east? Where is the sun? Because we must face the east to pray. We are children of the rising sun. In Biafra land will light come into Africa. In Biafra land will the impossible become possible. That is why our enemies have conspired with the forces of darkness to hold us down against our will. That is why they are gathering all over the world to try to subjugate that which is right. That is why they are doing all they can to repress this very irrepressible movement. That is why, by the grace of Elohim, they can never ever succeed in all their undertaking. Chineke na nke pụrụ m ihe niile, onye kere eluigwe n'ụwa, onye ọ bụ naanị ya na-achị, n'ihi na anyị ga-ekpere gị ekpere n'olu asụsụ eluigwe ka ndị dị ndụ ma ndị nwụrụ anwụ wee nụ ya. n'ihi na ọ bụ naanị gị bụ onye anyị na-efe. Chineke nna nke usu niile nke ndị agha, n'obodo agbọrọ ụmụ gị wee bata na-abụghị uche obi ha, ka ha wee wuru odibo wee nye mba ọzọ. Iwe site na amara gị na ebere ha wee kpọlite ha. Otu aka ka anyị si wee na-echeta ndị lara azụ n'ụbọchị nke taa, ndị lụrụ anya ọgụ wee daa, ndị kwafuru ọbara ha ka anyị onwe anyị wee dị n'ala nke ndị dị ndụ. Anyị wee na-aja gị mma wee na-eto gị Chineke nna nke ebube dị nsọ, Chineke nna nke Biafra, Chineke nna nke IPOB, ka ịma mma gị wee zuo oke n'ime ndụ anyị, ka ị wee nara mkpụrụ obi ha n'udo, bụ ka ha rabụ ndị dara ka anyị wee dị ndụ, ka ịhụnanya gị wee mụbaa n'ime anyị n'otu n'otu, ka ị wee gọzie anyị na anyị si wee gbakọọ n'ebe a, ka ịhụnanya gị wee pụta ihe, ka otuto na nsọpụrụ wee dịrị gị, onye na-eme mma, onye ọ bụ naanị a ga-enye anyị Biafra site n'ebighị ebi ma ruo n'ebighị ebi ka anyị na-arịọ gị. Ise. I thank all of you for being here today.
Thank you.
There are those who couldn't come, we understand that. But those of you that took time off work, that got up from your sick beds, that cancelled every engagement today to be here, to remember the souls of our dear departed, those that fought and died for us. We shall honor them, not just today, but as long as there is any child born of Biafra heritage anywhere in the world, we must remember those that fought and died for us. For this very singular reason is why IPOB is unstoppable, because we know what is right and we do it consistently well. We are not ever going to retreat. We will not surrender nor abdicate our responsibility to those of them that fought and died for us. There are those who worry about the possibility of our restoration effort. There are those who conspire with the enemies to try to take this very movement down. But we assure them on this very day that the same way there was 100% compliance back in the Holy Land of Biafra, so shall the restoration of Biafra be assured. There are things that we do not know, things that I'm not at liberty to say in public. But I want to give you one assurance, and that assurance is this: that Biafra will be restored in our time.
Yes.
Those who died for us, we remember. Those who sacrificed themselves for that we may live, we remember. Those that fell not through any fault of theirs, we remember. Those who are incarcerated in the detention centers, in the zoo, we remember them. We honor those that fell at Mpo. We remember those that fell at Aba. We remember those that fell at Asaba. Those that they killed in Onisha. Those of them that died in Enugu. Those that they slaughtered in Owerri. All of them we shall honor. And for their sake, Biafra will be restored. That is why we will not stop. The enemies underestimate our resolve. They do not know how determined we are. But here in the United States of America, are we making this proclamation that Biafra is here, that IPOB is present, and Chukwokika Biama must hear our prayers. Our hands are clean.
Yes.
Our conscience very clear.
Yes.
We have not done anything to anybody.
Yes.
We are not seeking for something that doesn't belong to us.
Yes.
The land of Biafra is our own.
Yes.
We have not ceded it to anybody.
Yes.
Fulanization and Islamization has no place in Biafra land.
Yes. Forever.
326 years ago, the same army of Islam came to the land of Biafra. They tried to come into the land preserved for the children of the Most High. Chukwokika Biama destroyed them.
Yes.
And as it happened 300 years ago, so shall it happen in 2019.
Yes.
So shall it happen in 2020.
Yes.
So shall it happen in 2021.
Yes.
And so shall it be forever and ever.
Yes.
Some of us do not know what is happening back home right now and what we are being forced to endure. The same things I've been preaching to you and telling you for over 6 years is coming to fruition. There is nothing that I say that will not come to pass. The whole world can bear us witness.
Yes.
Even the Yorubas now understand it.
Yes.
Those who were once against IPOB,
They must.
they now understand it. They are beginning to confess. They are beginning to say that that very thing that IPOB saw and have been talking about is now happening before their very eyes.
And now, truth. Onere. Always.
N'ihi na ọwa na-agwọ eluigwe zi anyị ozi anyị zie ndị dị ndụ. That is why we are under divine instruction to speak the truth always. Ndị okwu asị ga na-asị asị, ndị mgbụgba ga na-agba.
Yes.
Kama na eziokwu Chineke ga-adịrịrị.
Forever.
And because of that very truth, that is why IPOB is here in the USA, gathered here today to pay respect to those of them that died for us.
Yes.
The same way that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. fought and died, that African Americans may have a better life.
Yes.
And because we are here, we also remember him and all those that have fought and stood for freedom. The same way that this IPOB is standing here today to proclaim that the freedom we seek, that the freedom we yearn for, that the freedom that we deserve, the freedom that we merit must come in our time, that our children may know, that their children may know that this very noble family, this same IPOB that fought against every odd to make sure that Biafra is restored, is seen to the glory of Chukwokika Biama in our lives forever and ever.
Nwa Chineke.
Anyị anaghị ezu oshi, anyị anaghị agba ama, anyị anaghị agara ndị Fulani ozi, anyị anaghị eme anụtakara ndị iro.
Never.
The world must oblige me because I grew up in the village. The reason why sometimes when I preach this very gospel, I delve into the sacred language of heaven. Because if you go to heaven right now, even the angels are speaking Igbo.
Yes. Ezioku Bundu, one of Biafra.
Because we are ancient people.
Yes.
The very first to inhabit this very earth. It is our language that heaven understands. That is why we preach in it. That is why you cannot lie with it.
Yes.
That is why Biafra will be restored upon it. There are those of them in some parts of the United States of America that still harbor some doubt because they don't understand the divine message behind what IPOB is doing.
Yes.
And until you are in it, under the sacred oath, you will never ever comprehend it nor understand it.
Yes. That's right. Zokubundo.
There was a time when they said our people were ungovernable. There was a time when they said we cannot speak with one voice. There was a time when they said Biafra is impossible to attain. But today, only on one command, everything in Biafra land kept a standstill.
Let's go to one of Biafra.
And we did not bribe anybody. We did not compel anybody.
Our Savior.
Because the truth was preached.
Always.
And this trust was established. The trust that made all of you to leave your homes to come here today, that very trust shall endure
forever.
And as I always say, I make this proclamation before you, which I have done countless times, that I will not let you down.
God bless you.
Machineke. We will not let you down. One of Biafra land. We will never let you down.
We will continue to sacrifice everything sacrificable. It doesn't matter what it is. You see, if it stands in the way of Biafra restoration, I will sacrifice it.
Yes, sir.
They came to kill me. They did not succeed because they will never succeed.
Never, never.
Because Chukwokika Biama sent me on an errand and I must complete it.
Amen.
That errand is very simple.
Amen.
To restore Biafra for the living. That his name may be worshipped in the land of Biafra. Not just today, not just tomorrow. Not next week and not next month. Not just next year. But that the name of Elohim will be worshipped in the land of Biafra.
Forever.
From generation to generation.
Forever.
From family to family.
Forever.
From child to child. From blood to blood. Forever and ever. Ndị awe Sudan.
You will live long. You will live us.
Ha gara Sudan ka akpọta nwoke nwụrụ anwụ. And when the other people were afraid to speak the truth, this same IPOB, this same Radio Biafra, this same children of Biafra spoke the truth and told the world that Aminu Jubril al-Sudani is not a Nigerian and can never be. That Buhari is dead. We said it. Most of you did not believe us.
We believe you now. You said before. You said before. Not now. Opposite of before is now. Is that not true?
Everything I say is the truth.
Yes.
Abiyama will always vindicate me.
Amen. Amen.
We are not afraid of speaking the truth.
No. Yes.
Regardless of the consequences.
Yes.
When I said it, that they will come into our land to enslave us, some of you did not believe me. When I said they will kill us, abduct our daughters and rape our mothers, most of you did not believe me.
Yes.
But is it happening today?
Yes.
I also told this very noble family that as long as you serve the zoo, you will come back in disgrace.
Yes. You have been signing forever.
And today is the something that happened to Kurabusa. There are those that derive joy in serving Fulani.
Yes.
There are those that derive joy in fighting IPOB.
Yes.
That is fighting to liberate them.
Yes.
But there is one thing that is certain. Not only will they fail, not only will they come back in disgrace, they will also be rejected by the land of Biafra.
Forever and ever. Forever and ever.
We are in the United States of America. I have not come alone. As I said, my wife is here. We are in the United States of America. If you have any question, if you have any doubt, if you have anything bothering you, I am here. You will ask me and I will answer you.
You are the spirit in human flesh.
Yes.
Spirit in human flesh, that's what you are.
We believe in no question. Onye nzọpụta Biafra. Eziokwu bụ ndụ.
The only thing that they have against me is that I am unbribable. They cannot buy my conscience. They cannot buy me. There is nothing they will do to me. Not today, not tomorrow. That will make me to abandon Biafra.
He said forever. We trust you.
When we started to remember our heroes that have passed on, they said we are wasting our time, that we will never succeed, it will never catch on. But they keep forgetting one simple thing, that the foundations of IPOB was anchored on the promise of Chukwukika Biama.
Yes.
That this very noble family, this very great movement was not instigated nor started by any human being. It is the handiwork of Chukwukika Biama. And that is why we remain indestructible. That is why we remain indivisible. That is why nobody, no matter who you are, can dent our resolve and our determination to restore Biafra in this life.
Forever and ever.
Man from the heavens.
Jealous man.
Man from the heavens.
Onye nzọpụta anyị.
Anyị wee na-agbasa ozi ọma Chineke. Okezi ikpeazụ Willie Obiano, Dave Umahi, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi,
Sabo Onyakpedi Ozu.
These are the people that the Fulanis gave to you to rule over you. They started it with Ohaneze in 1976.
Will never be well with them.
Every leader you have had until the coming of IPOB, anybody who's ever stood up to proclaim the defense of our people, we are planted there by the Fulani North. But you wouldn't know. That is why when they close down Iguacha seaport, they will not speak. That is why when they close Enugu airports, you don't hear anybody saying anything. That is why Calabar seaport is not functioning. That is why Warri seaport is not opened. That is why we are being forced to travel abroad. That is why no industries are open in our land, because they have an agenda. They have a plan. They want to depopulate our land. They want to demoralize us. They want to decimate us. They want to render us hopeless and useless.
God forbid. Abomination forever.
But IPOB said no. Chukwukika Biama that set up IPOB said no. And that is why we must remain resolute and determined. That is why we must not falter.
Yes.
Doubt nor allow our resolve to be undermined.
Yes.
We must remain resolute.
Yes.
We must remain determined.
Yes.
Because one thing is certain. As night follows day, so shall Biafra be restored.
Yes.
Therefore I say unto all of you gathered here today, that the forces fighting IPOB is many. Those that want us to fail are more powerful than we are. They are more resourceful than we are. They have more money than we do. And they are determined to keep us as their slaves. But it will never happen. Those chains of bondage and of slavery has been broken by IPOB.
Forever and ever. Forever.
That
Truth
is
is
why
life.
Biafra will come. And that is why the events happening here today in Atlanta, Georgia, United States of America, we will all sit back home to talk about it.
Yes. Amen.
We will all sit in the land of Biafra to talk about days like this. We shall sit in the land of Biafra to tell our children what we passed through.
Yes. It's painful, man.
Because the doubting Thomases will come.
Always.
You know, for the name hand, there was a three hand
I get separated for very soon.
They will never stop fighting us. And as long as we remain determined and focused, there is no way they will ever succeed.
Never.
If you stop now agitating for Biafra,
No stopping up.
those you left back home will die.
Yes. Truth.
I know you have not come with your pen and paper because I'm not on air.
We do.
I want you to write it down on a piece of paper. If you stop what you're doing, our people will die.
Yes. Let's go, Carbon.
Because when it starts happening, I will tell you on the 30th of May 2019 at Martin Luther King Jr. Center in Atlanta, I told you so.
Yes.
Spirit in human
If you stop now, your children will never go home.
God forbid.
If you stop now, the effort and the sacrifice of our dead will be in vain. For their sake, we will restore Biafra.
Yes.
For their sake, Biafra will stand in Africa.
Yes.
For the sake of the dead, we will build a civilization to surpass every other civilization in Africa.
Yes.
And that is what our enemies are afraid of.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Especially the British.
Because they don't want a black man to do that thing that is the exclusive preserve of the white man.
Yes.
Yes.
But we are not afraid of competition, are we?
Never.
No.
We are not seeking for Biafra that we may lord it over anybody else.
Never.
We are not seeking for Biafra to enslave any other person.
Never.
We are not looking for Biafra
Never.
for the sake of it. We are looking for Biafra because it is the promise of God himself in heaven.
Ezoku Bundo. Truth is life. Ezoku Bundo.
Nobody conquered us until the British came.
Yes. Ezoku.
And it is not that the British conquered Biafra.
Never.
Chukwu Okike Abiyama wanted to teach us a lesson that we may return to him
Yes.
in truth and in every honesty.
Yes.
Yes.
That his will may be done upon our lives.
Yes.
Ezoku Bundo.
We failed in 1970 because that very foundation of divinity was missing.
Yes.
That's all.
Yeah. Right.
And Elohim said, I will take you up to the mountain. I will show you that very precious land of Biafra through our leader that we remember today, the very people's general himself. That wherever, because we are certain that he is in heaven.
Yes.
On the right hand side of God.
Yes.
Some of you don't know what he did. But we know. And we will always honor him.
Always. Forever.
Always.
As they say, what we do in life echo in history.
Yes.
What Ojukwu has accomplished in life will be remembered forever and ever. I say unto all of you today, you will go back to your various states, to your various cities, to your various towns. You will tell them that IPOB has come to stay. That IPOB, by the grace of God in heaven, will restore Biafra. That this same IPOB, persecuted and maligned, castigated and propagated against, that this very movement ordained in heaven for the purposes of liberation of Biafra land shall accomplish its mandate. That is why you are all here. Nothing more, nothing less. Therefore, I ask the Almighty in heaven, Chineke nanke purumi henine. Because you have no beginning and you have no end.
Yes.
Obola dinjo kenyoru abuo na no na tumbole donasi ne de sotineke. Man soka Jehovah. Therefore, this very solemn assembly to remember those that fought and died for us all over the world, starting from Japan in the east and will end in Los Angeles, California, later on today. That their spirit, oh Heavenly Father, may be accepted unto heaven, because they died fighting for a noble cause. They died doing that which you compelled them to do. And because of their sacrifice, because of their pain, because of our loss upon their lives, oh Heavenly Father, so will Biafra be restored, not to the glory of man, but to the glory of Chukwokika Biama Beniwe, forever and ever we pray. IPOB,
one family.
IPOB,
one family.
IPOB,
one family.
One family.
IPOB,
one family.
Come on, this is one of Biafra. Holy, 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 Nnamdi Kanu is another Savior. Holy, 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 Nnamdi Kanu is another Savior. Holy, 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 Nnamdi Kanu is another Savior. Holy, 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 Nnamdi Kanu is another Savior. Why you delay? Come and save the nation. Why you delay? Come and save the nation. Why you delay? Come and save the nation. Why you delay? Why you delay? My father, don't you worry. My father, don't you worry. If I happen to die in the battlefield, never mind, we shall sing again. I hear my kind of worry. I hear my kind of worry. And I go on there. I hear my kind of worry. I hear my kind of worry. And I go on there.
Yes.
Hey, thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. You've heard your leader, your spring leader. He's delivered the message to you. Let me point it. He delivered the message to us.
Yes.
Thank
So
you.
Biafra.
As I told you, I'm here to serve and I'm here to learn. He has given us the necessary information. One, we will never give up. Two, Biafra is ours.
Yes. Forever.
One, we will never give up.
Yes.
Two, Biafra is ours.
Yes.
The program we have at hand is we now go through the remainder of things we have to do. We have selected some readers to read the prayer and the names of these heroes we were talking about.
All right, welcome to the studio. And I'm here, I'm told to be just coming into town, right, for a special program.
Yes, I've been here for a couple of days.
Okay.
We had our Heroes Day Remembrance on the 30th here in Atlanta at the Martin Luther King Jr. Center. An event well attended by people, or by Biafrans, right across the United States of America.
All right, now can you give us an idea about your organization or your group, the Biafran people? Yes. And tell us more. Give us an in-depth, view of what it is that you are working towards.
The indigenous people of Biafra is a collection of Biafrans right across the world, people who have dedicated themselves to the peaceful pursuit of the restoration of Biafra. We are spread across over 88 countries around the world. We have a significant presence here in the United States as well. And our objective is to restore Biafra the way it was before the British came, before the colonial masters came, that we may retain some semblance of dignity and be able to live in our land and be able to develop it as well as we think fit. All these things are not possible right now because of the rather warped arrangements that we find ourselves in Nigeria, where nothing works, where ethnic nationalities that were living side by side peacefully before the advent of colonialism are today at each other's throat, which has negatively impacted on human and social development. All these anomalies are the things that we are trying to correct, and we hope to spread that very message through the gospel via indigenous people of Biafra.
Wow. I'm trying to understand. I understand several years ago that ended, and Nigeria, Biafra became a part of Nigeria. Like I spoke to a gentleman the other day, I just want to understand how removed you guys are from Nigeria, a country that is part of you.
The removal is the right word. If you don't mind, I will say rejection and repudiation. The entire essence of Biafra, what it means to be an Igbo, an Efik, and a Jaw person, to name but a few, has been totally rejected by the Nigerian state. There is an orchestrated plan to diminish, to emasculate, and to render hopeless, so to speak. Everything that has to do with Biafra. That is why no seaport in Biafra land is functional. We don't have any viable airports. Our roads are non-existent. There is little or no significant federal government project or presence right across Biafra land. People are wallowing in unimaginable poverty. There is repression. There is torture. There is arbitrary arrest. There is execution. There is high-handedness. And there is double standard. The Fulani people who are going about killing people are regarded as honorable citizens of Nigeria. They are being paid to go out to kill people. The latest being an installment of 100 billion naira that was given to them in order for them to stop killing innocent civilians. That is the mess that we are forced to live with within Nigeria, where nothing works. The schools are not functioning. The universities are not fit for purpose, and I do not think that any right-thinking human being will subscribe or aspire to live within such a regrettable and repressive geopolitical space.
All right, let me ask you, the Biafran state, the Biafran area that you're talking about, can you give me the specific areas where this Biafran state?
I will say Lower Benue, the entire southeast, the 5 states of the southeast, and also 5 states from the so-called south-south. In other words, going by ethnic nationalities, the Igbos, the Ijos, the Efiks, the Ibibios, the Anans, the Doma people, the Gala people, the Shekiris, the Robos, and Isokos.
Well, all those people that you just named, I know quite a few from those areas, and they're quite successful people. I don't understand, and I'm not Nigerian, but I'm an African, and I believe that Nigeria is one country. I don't understand why you want to separate from Nigeria to be Biafra all over again when you are a unit right now.
Nigeria has never been one country. It is an artificial creation by the British to serve their parochial economic interest. The name Nigeria means nothing in any of the traditional indigenous lexicons we have right across Africa. To force us to accept Nigeria means forcing us to accept white supremacy. It means asking us to jettison everything that we have lived for the past 5,000 years. I am not sure that anybody can go to Europe and aspire to create an artificial country out of the ones that have been existing before that very person's arrival. To maintain the artificial colonial boundaries drawn up by the European masters in Africa is a disservice to humanity and is one of the principal reasons why Africa have been struggling to develop or to be taken seriously as a viable place where civilized people can come from. Therefore, we are making it very clear to the whole world, especially to your listeners, that Nigeria is a contraption. It never existed before 1914, but people inhabited those lands before 1914. So what were they called? That is what we are seeking to go back to. A reassertion of our identity to enable us to be able to develop as other civilized countries have managed to do. You cannot put people together with divergent value systems, no cohesion in terms of economic thinking or religion, and you expect something good to come out of it. That is why the entire sub-Saharan Africa is replete with nations who are struggling and who are wallowing in abject poverty. That is an orthodoxy we are determined to challenge.
You have a question, Priscilla?
I'm just curious to know what your strategic approach is to making your stance. Is it an approach of peace, like the values of MLK, for example? Are you being violent about it? What is your approach, your strategy?
We are entirely peaceful. Our strategy is civil disobedience. We have learned from the very effective use of that social phenomenon, even here in Atlanta, from the likes of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and also Mahatma Gandhi to an extent. All we are asking for is a referendum. We are not seeking for war. We are not looking to fight anybody. We are not looking to shed any blood. All we are asking for is an opportunity for our people to decide and determine their future, the same way that it happened not just in Soviet Union, but also in Yugoslavia and most recently in Southern Sudan. What we are asking for is a peaceful dissolution of Nigeria and the emergence of Biafra within the International Committee of Nations.
Well, you mentioned Southern Sudan, but before I go to that question, I'd like to understand the states that the Biafran people are living. You mentioned Igbos, etc. Don't they function within the Nigerian government, where they have senators, they have governors, they have people that sort of advocate for you guys? Don't you have those?
The Nigerian political arrangement does not allow for what I will refer to as effective advocacy to address repression and apartheid. What is happening in Nigeria is a far more sophisticated system of discrimination and apartheid, and as recently acknowledged by the former head of state, Olusegun Obasanjo, this very program of Fulanization permeates every strata of society. In other words, those that you call senators and representatives, unless you are in support of the Fulani agenda, you will not be elected. Unless you're in support of the Fulani agenda, you will be removed out of office. It is a very mean, relentless political machinery that will grind into the dust any opposition that they encounter. What they are seeking to do is to turn us to some kind of mini Hausa state, where although the Hausa people have their language, everything else has been Fulanized. They have no home, they have no hope, they have no political dimension, and they have no cultural value. Everything has been subsumed under this huge umbrella of Fulani jihadi concept, so to speak. Unless you're part of them, you will not be elected into office. Unless you're part of them, your political aspirations will never even get taken off.
Oh, I mean, that's a strong statement to make. The population of Nigeria is 50-50, Christian 50, Muslim 50-50, right? So why are you targeting the Fulanis? Yes, we know that they have the Boko Haram and all that situation, but they're not only fighting your group, they're fighting the whole of Nigeria. And as far as we know, internationally, the Nigerian government is fighting back with the help of international organizations. So why would you say you have to be a part of the Fulani group to be elected in office when in Lagos, for example, the Fulanis, most of them don't live in that area, they in the north.
For you to appreciate what I'm saying or the magnitude of it, I'll give you a very simple example. Two Yoruba men have risen to the apex office in Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo and Ernest Shonekan. Those two men were put into office by Fulani men, not by Yorubas. Yorubas never voted for Obasanjo to start with. The only Yoruba man that came out or that had a semblance of independent mindedness, who is MKO Abiola, the Fulanis refused, and he never made it into office. They killed him in the process. That is the power that they wield, that is the might that they control. They're not doing it alone. The British is helping them. I am British, but I have to speak the truth. The British government elevated the Fulani class to a position of political power and authority to lord it over everybody. And for that very specific reason, some of their excesses that has to do with terrorism, not just one terrorist group, mind you, but four, funded and staffed by only Fulani people, Boko Haram, the Fulani headsmen, ISIS in West Africa, and Al-Qaeda in the Maghreb. No sane human being will wish to remain in the same country with people that do not value human life. I don't want us to underestimate the power that they wield. Every layer of government, be it judiciary, the army, the police, the executive, everywhere is staffed by Fulani people. It is a level of nepotism that no one has ever encountered before. That is the reality on the ground, and that's what we're having to deal with on a daily basis.
Would it be that the Fulani people are the ones that are voting, and the rest of the nation is not really putting enough effort or energy in the electoral process in Nigeria?
There is nothing like an electoral process in Nigeria, and it is not that the Fulanis are voting. The British taught them how to rig elections, and they have over the years perfected it. Unfortunately, some Yoruba people, like Bola Ahmed Tinubu, have allowed himself or his judgment to be clouded by his singular pursuit of the presidency in 2023. And for that very reason, he has more or less acquiesced. He is prepared to allow the Fulani the space to carry out what I call political, cultural, and social impunity because of power. And today, everybody is paying the price for that. They do not vote. They go to Chad and they go to Niger Republic to import even children of 4 years old to thumbprint ballot boxes to have the numbers inflated, that they may retain their preeminent position in the political hierarchy in that very dreadful country called Nigeria. It is a well-rehearsed approach. It is something they have been doing from 1952, and they will not stop until they are compelled to do so.
Well, how do you wish to go about this, or what's your plan?
Our plan is to remain on the path of peaceful agitation and civil disobedience in every way that we can until they see the need to grant us our referendum. We are in contact with governments of the world. Of course, you know it is not an easy process, but it's something that we are determined to do. Apartheid South Africa went through the same phase of subjugation of the majority, or acting contrary to the will of the majority. The same way that these Fulani jihadists are behaving today in Nigeria. But one thing is certain, we are not going to stop our agitation. We are not going to stop protesting. We are not going to stop lobbying the international community until Biafra is restored.
But does the UN recognize Biafra right now? Is it recognized?
Everybody knows about Biafra. In terms of official recognition, the answer is no.
Okay. Also, how would you translate the proverb, united we stand, divided we fall? The agenda of the Biafra seems to divide. Aren't we supposed to all fight a common enemy if we keep mentioning the British as the ones who empowered a particular sector of the Nigerian geographical and cultural population? Are we not faithful? Are we agitated towards the government or the British?
I will say the ignorance of the black man is the primary source of the problems we're encountering today. As black people, I don't feel sorry for myself. I like to speak the truth always, regardless of the consequences. We have not actually excelled in terms of being able to analyze situations and articulating a way forward out of every mess that we find ourselves in Africa. Of course, the common enemy is imperialism. The common enemy is poverty. The common enemy is backwardness. The common enemy is lack of infrastructure and all the rest of it. But the only way to resolve it is to allow people to express their views freely, not to be compelled to do so by an arrangement that is not only alien to Africa, but is counterproductive to our yearnings and aspiration in the 21st century. You do not force people to belong together. Britain have just voted to leave the EU. They're finalizing that very arrangement. The European Union is an amalgamation of willing democracies in Western Europe to commonize their interests and their political development. We were not given that very opportunity. If you say to the Yorubas, to the Igbos, to the Yefiks, to the thieves to come together to agree a common formula of governance, I will begin to accept that. But nobody asked us about Nigeria. A British company came to trade, and from there they started to experiment with us. They created a country which I maintain is artificial and has no basis in natural justice nor law, and it will be inimical to our progress for us to accept it. If there is some sort of sovereign national conference that allows us to be together as a nation, people agree their constitution and how they cohabit or how they coexist, that is also excusable and understandable. But having all this artificial imposition on Africa is the reason why we are poor till this very day, the reason why there is mass migration into Europe, people dying in the Sahara Desert, people drowning in Mediterranean Sea, where we have lost our shame. We have no dignity and we have no honor, because the template that we are working towards was written for us by somebody else. There are intelligent people in Nigeria, I believe, I'm led to believe, who can come together and decide a future for their people. If that type of arrangement were to take place, if that is the arrangement that I'm fighting against, perhaps you may have a very valid point. But the fact of the matter is that what we have before us is an arrangement that we did not subscribe to, is an arrangement we did not buy into, and is an arrangement we did not agree to. And that is why we are doing everything we can to make sure that it doesn't exist anymore.
Okay. How's radio? There's a Radio Biafra, right?
Yes, we have Radio Biafra.
Where is it headquartered?
It's in London.
In London. It's in London. And how effective has Radio Biafra been as a press tool to put the message across?
We've managed to use Radio Biafra to counter most of the lies and misinformation about Biafra. We have used Radio Biafra to mobilize our people all over the world. Without Radio Biafra, the effectiveness of our Heroes' Day remembrance, which was observed all over the world, would not have been possible. These are the issues at hand, and Radio Biafra continues to lead the way in making sure that our people are properly informed.
Okay, we've got 4 minutes to go, but we do have someone on the line. Hello, caller? How are you? Okay, you have a question?
My name is... Not at all. I want everybody to be independent on their own. If you then want to have a country called Nigeria, people will then sit around the table to discuss it and to agree the modalities. That's what I'm saying, in effect. Free will of the people must prevail, as it is in America. Not at all. was actually born the day that Biafra was declared. And let me say this to you. We have to fight wars to survive. America fights war every blessed year. This very second, America is fighting a war somewhere in the world. It does not matter how many years it takes or how many wars. I beg your pardon? A lot of people we are lost, and we will lose even more to make sure that Biafra comes. Yes, we lost a lot of people, and we are prepared to sacrifice many more to ensure that Biafra comes. I have answered your question. The answer is yes, yes, and yes. Okay. And let me repeat, we will fight another war
now, this is
to ensure that Biafra comes.
You indicated that your organization is a peaceful one. Now you're talking about war. So which are you? Are you?
No. There is this thinking in Africa. There is this thinking in Africa that self-preservation is the end-all and be-all of human existence. What we are trying to say is that life is meaningless if there is no freedom. Life is meaningless if there is no dignity. Yes, go ahead. Again, if you allow me to answer you.
Okay.
I want to address this very question.
I would like to end it here. Thank you very much for your call. And sir, thank you very much. And no, we actually out of town right now. It's 1 o'clock. But you have any last word?
Yes, please. That is the misinformation we've been talking about and what we set up Radio Biafra. There is nothing like South nor Niger Delta. There are concoctions by people that wish to divide Biafra. And there is oil right across every Igbo state. The largest gas reserve in Africa is in Imo State, which is an Igbo state, so to speak. Even the so-called Niger Delta encompasses Abia State as well, which is an Igbo state. This trying to make the argument for Biafra to center around oil is very, very sad, regrettable, and is something that we are fighting seriously against, and why we have Radio Biafra. Such information, such ideology, such thinking and reasoning has no place in a civilized society. We are fighting for our freedom and not for oil, nor for gas.
All right, thank you very much, sir, for taking the time and coming in, and hope that you will succeed in a peaceful way. But I am an African, and I believe that we should all live together. I don't believe in separation. We are having the same situation in Senegal right now, with customers trying to get out of Senegal. And, you know, we had South Sudan, and it has not been successful. South Sudan is a mess. And, you know, we need to look at ourselves as brothers and sisters and work towards a peaceful solution, not try to break away. Now I understand what you said about your senators not doing their job, but then vote them out, get somebody that will do what it takes to bring Biafra to what you want Biafra to be. Once again, I'd like to say thank you very much, and I thank you very much, gentlemen, for bringing your hearing, you know, and enlightening us about what your struggle is, and we hope that it works out.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thanks.
All right, it's 2 minutes past the hour of 1 o'clock. You're listening to 89.3 FM.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Indigenous People of Biafra, all the people of Biafra, Canadians, all the people of Biafra. IPOB, one family, IPOB. I wish to welcome the spring leader, the indigenous people of Biafra. Mazi, Nnamdi, Kanu, we welcome you. Young people are here to receive you. I want to tell you that within the people seated right here to listen to you, chiefs, dinses, the cheers, fathers, mothers, children, grandchildren. You're very much welcome. I want to talk to you today about the journey so far and the misconception and the innuendos and the stories behind IPOB. 7 years ago, not long ago, I'm not sure how many people here are born Biafrans and how many people here are born Nigerians. But majority of the members of indigenous people of Biafra, I can tell you, are mainly Nigerians. They didn't see the Biafran war. They were all born Nigerians. But today, they're championing the restoration of the Republic of Biafra. The reason why these younger people are championing is that they're looking around thinking, what the hell is going on? How come we were born here? Where's the country? And therefore, they were able to connect with the spring leader who saw what people couldn't see. The events that are unfolding in Nigeria today are based on the fact that he was a man that saw tomorrow. He took Obasanjo years to realize that Nigeria is being colonized and Islamized. He was only voice in the wilderness, crying, asking people to wake up from slumber. Even though you are averse to war, that war is coming to meet you. So what will be the same solution to this is to be prepared to defend yourself from an aggressor that is coming to not only kill you, but to rape you, to discredit your fatherland. So what we are calling you today is maximum support as we receive our Hamadike in our midst. On behalf of all the people from Biafra, I welcome you once again on Hamadike. IPOB, one family. IPOB, IPOB, one family. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be in Canada and in Toronto to be precise. And this very fine evening, the grace of heaven will descend upon this very gathering, I can assure you. I'm impressed with the turnout here. I never knew there were so many Biafrans in Canada. All I can hope for is that we will continue in this same spirit of unity, a sense of purpose and direction, to support everything that our leadership is doing here until Biafra is restored. I am sure that most of you would like to go back home to Biafra. There is only one way to accomplish that, and that route is IPOB. Let me start by quickly introduce the principal servants. In IPOB, I'm talking to you today so that you can understand and learn a few things about the organization Indigenous People of Biafra. We normally address the people that lead us as chief servants because they're serving the people. Let me start to introduce to you, I'm the National Coordinator of Indigenous People of Biafra. My name is Nzeti Okafo. And I have Chief Collins Ogoke as the Deputy National Coordinator. And I have Princess Joy Ochiabuto as the Secretary General. And I'm just going to quickly introduce, we have coordinators in 4 provinces so far. I have the coordinator for Quebec, Aimé Oga. He owns the Pujo Night Club in Montreal, so when you go down to Montreal and you want to have some good time, check out the Oga Night Club. Pujo Night Club. And we have Mazi Celestine Omuka as the coordinator of Alberta. And we have Mazi Onyeka Chinwe, coordinator of Ontario. And we will try to, if you see some of the flyers we sent out for this event, or the phone numbers today so that you can contact any person directly or closest to your province. The coordinator for British Columbia wasn't able to make it to this particular event. So, but he is with us. He's linked with us online. And so, just like we said, this is the climax of what we've been doing for some time, sensitizing our people that even if you're running away from the problem is going to meet you. So the same solution will be prepared, educate yourself. IPOB is built on not only mass mobilization, civil disobedience. The key, most important thing that IPOB does is mass education. To educate ourselves, the dangers they face in Nigeria, the immediate dangers they know now, the dangers that we confronted down the line. We might not see them, but they do exist. The things you see today are just the tip of the iceberg, what is going to happen tomorrow. So, I'm glad to bring the oracle himself, the man that saw tomorrow, the man that is as fearless as he can get, the whole brutal regime in Nigeria. So many people, they call it so many things, so many names. Half man, half spirit, or Hamadike, the supreme, the commander of the indigenous people of Biafra. Any way you greet him is equal to the task.
All of the above.
All of the above. The reason why he is here today is to speak to you, so that you can see him, you can feel him, you can ask him any question you feel like asking him. No matter how difficult it is, he is going to answer those questions today. While we were driving yesterday, he looked around, he says, beautiful country, Nigeria. And he said the only way this country was built, he didn't say science, he says undisciplined. Sorry. I didn't mean to say Mizzou. I mean to say Canada. Here where we live. He looked at it, he said, the people that built this place were able to build it because they were disciplined. And he said, for Biafra to emerge and survive and succeed, we have to be disciplined. So, when we were driving in, I wanted him to come from the back door. He said, not only out of principle, but also as a prince, he will never enter a building from the side door. Muhammad, you do your piano. So, without wasting much of your time, we will go to the next item on the program. We will ask Kohamadike to please pray for us. IPOB, 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 I am delighted to be here in Toronto, Canada, before a very beautiful, polished, distinguished, esteemed audience like yourselves. There are going to be a few house rules. If your phones are on, please endeavor to put it on silent, on vibrate, because we are about to pray. That the very Chukukikabiama that have not only created Biafra, but made our ancestors to inhabit it by His grace, may preside over our proceedings this evening to the eternal adoration of His holy name. Therefore, we call upon heaven itself.
Please don't stand up.
I will pray in the language of heaven, and I will also interject it with English language. You have to excuse me, because if you are in the presence of the Almighty God, the Creator, you will hear the angels worship Him in Igbo language. Aga m asụ asụsụ eluigwe. Chineke nna nke pụrụ ihe niile, Chukwu okike abịa maka onye niile sowe na-aja mma mgbe niile. Onye ọ bụ naanị ya ka ndị mmụọ ozi na-efe. Ọbụla dị ndị okenye ọrụ abụọ na anọ na-atụ nkọ ọlaedo na na-asị na-ebi nsọ Chineke na nsọ ka onye nwanyị dị. Anyị wee na-arịọ ihe ezi ebube dị ngọzi ma ruo mgbe ebighị ebi. Ka ị wee bịa nọnyere ụmụ gị, anyị onwe anyị bụ ndị nọ n'ime ahụhụ, wee nọrọ n'ime akwụrụ, awụsa Fulani wee jide anyị wee na-enyemina anyị. Ọbụla dị Briten ọbụla ihe ọbụla anyị mere ha, wee bụrụ ọchịchị wee bata n'ime ndụ anyị. Anyị wee na-arịọ onye Chineke nna nke igwe, ihe iwe bata n'ime ndụ anyị n'ụbọchị nke taa. Anyị wee na-ekwubi okwu n'isi ụmụ gị bụ IPOB n'ụwa niile bụ ndị gọziri agọzi, n'ihi na ha bụ ụmụ Chineke nwere ka ha bụ onye nwe m. Ụmụ ọrụ gị ka anyị bụ ka na-eche gị n'iru na Toronto na Canada na mba ndị ọzọ, bụ ebe anyị gbabatara ka anyị wee lee ma ndụ ọ gafere anyị. Onye nwe anyị na Chineke nna, ezi ebube dị ngọzi, bịa ka iwe pụrụ anyị n'ihu na azụ na anyị n'aka anyị na papa ka ekpe, ka iwe kpochapụrụ anyị ajọ mmụọ na ajọ mmadụ, ka iwe jide ka ha na nke dị nsọ bụ ndị si na Biafra agaghị adị,
wee mee ka isi wee gbuo ha. Ha niile na nke ebere bụ ndị si na ụmụ gị agaghị aṅụ mmiri maka ọgba ike onye nwe m na Chineke nna. Ya ka iwe mee ka aka nsị ha wee baa ha ọnụ. Onwe ebumnobi bụ n'obi onye ime eluigwe mgbe i siri osi wee gwa ndị Igbo na ha ga-abata n'ime Afrịka na ijeri ga-apụtarịrị na o nweghị ihe ọbụla mmadụ nupụrụ ime gbasara ya n'ihi na ọ bụ iwu Chineke nna. Ọ bụ gị kere ihe ị na-ekere eke mana ọnweghị onye kere gị. Ọ bụ na-anaghị bụ mmalite na ọgwụgwụ isi iyi nke mba ma ha macha amacha ọka aka aga ịbụ a na-etuga aha na-asị na iwe ebi onye nwe biko mmadụ dị ndụ ga-anwụ kama n'okwu gị na-anọgide ma bụ mgbe ebighị ebi. Ọ bụ n'okwu nsọ gị Chineke nna nke igwe ka anyị gbakwasịrị ezinụlọ IPOB onye na-arịọ gị ịhụnanya gị ma mma gị n'ime ndụ anyị niile n'otu n'otu. Iwe chebe anyị ma chebe ezinụlọ anyị, wee chebe ụmụ nwaanyị na nke dị nsọ, wee kweta ịhụnanya igwe esi oke n'ebe anyị nọ, wee kwe ka anyị wee banye n'ala nsọ Igbo Biafra dịka isi wee kwe anyị na nkwa ka anyị niile nkerịta nwere ibu Chineke nna nke bi n'ime igwe kwesịrị n'ime ndụ anyị na nke dị nsọ ka o wee bịa na mmezu na ndụ abụghị n'ọnwụ. Anyị wee na-ajọ gị onye ọbụ naanị ya na-achị ka ị wee kwe ka ezi mmụọ gị wee baa anyị n'ime n'abalị ya, ka anyị wee hụ onwe anyị n'anya, ka anyị wee nwee mmekọrịta dịka o kwesịrị isi wee dị n'etiti ụmụnne na ụmụnne, ka ịhụnanya gị wee mụba n'ebe anyị nọ, ka ị wee chebe anyị, ka ị wee jide obodo ekwesị bụ ozu ma laa ya n'iyi n'ihi na Biafra ga-abịarịrị. Onye ọbụla sị na Biafra agaghị eguzo na nke dị were ekpere anyị ka akwa anyị na gị n'obi ka anyị bụ ndị nọ gwara anyị okirikiri. Biafra agaghị abịa ọbụla anyị gotere na Biafra ga-abịarịrị. Ọ bụghị ihe mmadụ dị ndụ pụrụ ime, ọ bụ site na amara gị na ebere gị onye ime eluigwe anyị wee na-ajọ gị na amara gị na ebere gị kpochapụrụ anyị ajọ mmụọ na ajọ mma ihe niile na anyị ga-ewepụrụ ihe ga-aga nke ọma. Ege pụtara aha na nsọpụrụ dị ịcha mgbe ọrụ obodo ibe
Ohamadike, the prophet of our time. The next item on the program, before we do anything, we give praises to God. We will sing to the nation of Canada, the national anthem of Canada. Please, you may stand. Okay, let's go with the Biafran anthem before we go Canada. Please keep standing. Canadian National Anthem. Thank you. You may be seated. DJ, can you just put some Biafra songs as we get ready to move into the next item on the program? Thank you.
There are people with love and harmony. Oh, it's so greatness, respect to his purity. We are not a people. I give the heritage to rise and rescue. Oh, see, a nation from the river of easy with
He wants to play one or two tracks for you to mellow people down so that we can continue. David is the sound.
Kanu.
All hail Biafra. All hail Biafra. All hail Biafra. IPOB. IPOB. Thank you so much, our brother, for that good presentation. Please, before we continue, just got a message that somebody whose plate number is BEXV225. It's a Honda car. You are blocking someone that is not part of this program, and the lady wants to leave. I wouldn't want you to come out and call, going back and miss your car. Please, if your car is blocking someone across the street, BEXV225. BEXV225, please move your car. The next item on the program is presentation of Kolanut. In our culture, when a visitor comes to your place or organization in the city of Toronto wants to present Kolanut to you, and I'm calling on Chief Steve Aparando and Bennett Ukewu to please come and present Kolanut to Hamadike. A round of applause for them.
Igbo keleni. Ndị Igbo keleni. Igbo kwesịrị. Ndị be anyị sakala iko ịbara leba na mkpana na-achala iko. Onye bi si na ọ nwere oji a ga-eji aga ma ọ bụ na awala awa ya echenji ya stepụ ya. Aka dike eruru ala. On Igbo Union. Ịmaghị ha Igbo Union of Canada. Ọbara ya n'abalị ụbalị Igbo. Ebe na ịnọ. Nwoke dị mkpa dere ụkwụ n'ala. Ị gachaa na ị gadubere ị na-aga. Ọ bụghị onye ji m ihe ndị Igbo ọjọọ nke bụ onye ọ bụ. Nwanne anyị nwoke abịala ebe ọ bịara na dị mma kama ala emesiri emesi ọkwa na ihe ọhụrụ si ka aka mezie nke Igbo onye nọ n'ebe ahụ anyị na-ekele unu chifti nwa ọkụ n'ọhịa na-ayọchili na ya na-echiri anya na ya ọtụtụ ndị Igbo Union n'ebe a biko ni ahụ unu anyị matawaji unu n'ụlọ sa anyị represent unu mụnwa bụ onye abịa onye nke abụ onye Imo ebe onye anọghị ya Enugu gara ọnụ anyị ga-asị unu ọsọ bụ akụwa aka na Imo ya erie mmadụ agaghị agba aka mgbata ise
Enugu na ahịa
aka nkịta bụ breki ya. Biko abụ m obere nwa tomato jichie m echichi aga m akpọ chief Amechi aga m akpọ Chief Amechi ọ bụ onye na-eji Igbo Union for one of our elders ama ọ ga nụ ya ma ọ ga nụ ya Chief Amechi ya Chief Ego ama m ịnọbụ ebe a ndị a niile echiri echichi Chief enu ya ndewo na ndị echiri echichi n'ebe iwe were unu ka Chief Amechi banata ọjị unu oli aka nyere ọha mkpadike onye ọ gwara ọha mkpadike adịkwara ma ọba ọ bụ ọkpọ dike ọ dikela mba o chekwa na arịa o ji bụrụ dike ndị Igbo Union na-ekele ya sọ bịara n'ọnọdụ otu anyị jiri promote culture n'ala Canada ekwụsịrị ike ọkwa maka ọdịmma ndị Igbo ihe anyị gachara o so na one of the major thing ndị Igbo Union ndị promote ma ị maghị ga-ama Igbo Union bisiri ike na Biafra ga-adị and ọ ga-adị. Chief, you're welcome. Igbo Jamba. Anyị na-asị gị gburu ọjị ya were nyere anyị nwanne anyị nwoke Amadike ịgọzie ya ịgabagwe ya ndị echiri echichi nọkwa ebe a Chief Ego gaa na-anọnye ị gaghị anọ onye ọbụla mmadụ chiri echichi ya ga-anọnyere ya ka ọ gọọ ọjị ka ọsọbela ka dị oke mkpa. Chief Okoro n'ebe a IPOB
Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, Biafra, the chief commander of the armed forces of Biafra. I need to learn Canada and say oh, Chineke wepụtara m nwa ọwụ nwata ọwụ oke ọ ga-aka wepụtara sị ọbịa bịa rụọ ọrụ ọna onye ọbụla amaghị otu anyị si biri n'ala Igbo kemgbe ọ bịara pụta na-ekwu okwu o meririala niile anya ndị na-anaghị ahụ ụzọ arụala ụzọ so thank you very much for your education, for your dedication, for your commitment, for what you have done. Igbo Union is strong. From the IPOB staff, from one. I'm going to do. Now, technology we have, let us know. I will tell them this. Team of coffee. Suppose Kabia and Naga from the Yellow. Onye wetara ọjị wetara ndụ. Chineke mere mere ka anyị taa ọjị a onye anyị ndụ ogologo, onye anyị amamihe, onye anyị nghọta, onye anyị ime ihe n'otu, kpọkọta obi anyị ọnụ, weta udo n'ebe anyị nọ, mee ka anyị mụbaa kwere ihe niile, were ihe niile Mazi Nnamdi Kanu na-agwa ya tinye n'obi mara na ọ na-achọ ime restoration of the Federal Republic of Biafra. Na-eji ya n'ụzọ niile, ekwela ọgwụ kpụọ ya, ekwela ihe ọbụla mee anyị niile takwana ọjọọ ka anyị tata ndụ chọta ọga ọganihu ihe niile dị na n'aha Chukwu okike abịa ma onye nwanyị. onye nwe anyị ka o mezuo ihe o gwara anyị na-agwa si n'aka gị bụ ọhamadike n'Igbo. Anyị bụ ụfọdụ bụ ndị ahụrụ oge ọgụ dị nwa bụ onye ahụbere ọgụ wee bụrụ onye nọ n'isi ọka Chineke si eme ihe adịnaisi onye nwe anyị ekebi aka ọchị onye dị aka
Chineke mere anyị ebere n'aka gị. Ịma na ọ bụ ị na-anọ abụ obere ọnụ. Ị na-anọkwu ndị ọcha niile ọnụ. Ị na-adịsọ ọgụ. Idrik ị na-adịsọ ọgụ. Eze ọgbọgbọrọ ị na-adịsọ ọgụ. Ọ ndị a bụ ndị na-eri anyị titi. Anyị na-arịọ onye nwaanyị ka onye gị ike maka ihe a abụrụkwa obere ike. Ihe a abụrụkwa ihe eji. Ọgbakọba na ihe na-eme ihe a. Aga ọ bụrụ na ọ bụrụ na ọ Chineke anyị wee na-asị na anyị gbapụ ndị nke zụgboro ahụle anya biko jisie ike ọ ga-adị mma ụjọ ajụna gị nwa na-ekwe oge ọbụla na-asị ụjọ ajụna mmadụ n'ime ya ọ bụrụ ike gị ka iji ekwekwa biko jisie ike Chukwu ga-agba gị ndụ kwa anyị bụ ụmụ Igbo ndụ kwa ndị ọzọ niile ndụ kwa ndị ụwa
aka nwee ịnamikọrọ ndị ụlọ ndị ga n'obi Canada ọkwụ ndị ahụ ndị a bụ ndị nwe obodo anyị hapụrụ anyị pụta the elders of the community here. Biko bịanụ ka unu kwee n'aka.
Igbo person. This register will return our job on our So I'm going to say this Nnamdi. And then President Nnamdi, yeah, because that was justice officer, because they got oh, yeah, here, because that was the Nnamdi. Sorry, Anambra. So, those are Anambra office. Anambra. Because that was the Anambra.
Anambra
gịnị ka ị na-ekwu ihe nwoke
a sị ego gọrọ ọnwụ kwuru ya ndị Imo biko ndị Imo agaghị eje njọ senetọ achọrọ na elderly person for business onye Ebonyi steeti nọ ya ndị Ebonyi nọ na-anaghị abịa maka ndị Imo ha enweta nnọọ
Ebonyi nọ ebe a
onye Ebonyi
Ebonyi nọ ya ndị Akwa Ibom nọkwa ya
onye Delta nọ ya Delta steeti onye Cross River onye Cross River yes Cross River onye Akwa Ibom
n'ebe
Usachi Ibom onye River State onye River River State Bayelsa Bayelsa State. Why Bayelsa man? So, Ndibo, Biafra. I want that to become. I want Thank you. Can we clap for Igbo Union, please? And some people were saying we speak too much Igbo in our language, in our culture. The Kanu do not understand English. And the person sitting here is a priest. His dad is a custodian of Igbo culture. So we must respect that. Now, if we go to other Biafran communities, we will, submit ourselves to their culture. Nnamdi was saying yesterday when he was speaking to people, he said, in the new Republic of Biafra, there will be completely independent units. The only thing that will be uniting the people is foreign policy and defense. Every other thing will be very, very autonomous. So that's when you will see the ingenuity of the Biafran people. As we continue, we need to speed up, because the real essence of Ahmadiyya's coming is so that he can preach the gospel of restoration. Behind there, we have people who can register you if you want to join the movement. We are asking you to join the movement. This movement was created for you, for every one of us. If we come together and demand change in Nigeria, in the zoo, that change will come tomorrow. Regardless of how we look at Ahmadiyya, there must be people standing behind it. He cannot do it alone. The beauty of democracy and freedom is that the people must demand for their freedom. Freedom will not meet in your home. You have to demand for your freedom. And that freedom is what is come to preach to you, to join forces with him, to emancipate our people. Ahmadiyya, before you start your second missionary journey, you were talking about your first missionary journey to Canada. You came and sowed the seed, and the Lord has happened from then to now. You've come to water the seed that you sowed. And I pray that this time around, it will bear fruit millionfolds and billionfolds. Yes. If you go behind there, you can register and join IPOB. For people who don't understand what IPOB is, it's a movement of free-spirited individuals who no longer see Nigeria as a viable option. If it's left for me, I will not be a member of IPOB. But I have a son. I don't know whether that son will ever go back to the zoo. Because if he goes there, he's going to leave the next morning. Because there's no nation, there's nothing happening. If we that live in diaspora wants to have a place to retire, if you want your name to continue so that will be Efuna, then you have to do something. I'm pretty sure Ahmadiyya would have said if Nigeria had worked, I'm saying, supposing Nigeria had worked, And we have all the tribes that make up Nigeria. And they love each other. They understand the concept of building a nation. There's trust, there's love, there's unity, there's no pogrom. You will not have IPOB. The reason why you have IPOB and the prophet himself is because it did not work.
That's our history.
Yeah. Can you talk for her? Okay, then I agree with you. There are also people who join the struggle out of hopelessness. When you wake up every morning and you're weighed down by problem and there's nothing that's happening and you look towards the future and it's called hopelessness. And you cannot live in hopelessness. So we brought the message of hope. We have suya there. It's sold $5. One suya. And let me tell you something. The $20 you paid coming in here on the suya, on the jersey, or on the t-shirt you purchased, if you don't know, we IPOB under the leadership of Nnamdi spent millions and millions of naira to treat people that are injured during mass protests, people who are locked up for your freedom, our offices. When the zoo locks people up, from the day they get in there, their rent need to be paid, their children's school fees need to be paid. If I don't tell you, you will not understand.
That's true.
So the money you're giving us today is blessed money because it goes to the root of the families of the people that are sacrificing for the restoration of Biafra. There are veterans here, Hamadike, and before we continue, if the veterans here in this hall can come and welcome Hamadike. I've seen Mazi Simon Okoroji. I've seen Azikiwe. Who else? Please, can you people come to the front? All the veterans, all the Biafran veterans. Can you please stand up?
Yes.
For 24 hours.
Never again.
Roman people that you do this inside the jar, we don't matter. I don't know. One of the Amaya good. Can you pardon my good? Who's on the Shabbat? One more. What I did, you in Japan. So we are larger I like him practically.
Yes. Please. Shift. But then
do we have the pictures now?
Yeah.
Thank you. You may see it. Please do not be seated. Please, the next item on the program is the reason why we are here. It is time for the message of restoration. Please, if you have your cell phone on and you're moving, be seated. Be seated. I want everybody to be seated. Ahmadike, it is time for you to speak to our people. I'm very happy to be in Canada today.
I am not only surprised, pleasantly surprised, mind you, I am overwhelmed by the warmth that I have felt since I have been here, the generosity, the camaraderie, the togetherness, the sense of purpose and of direction. The whole world is watching this, by the way. If anybody had any doubts before today about the preparedness of our people in Canada to support the restoration of Biafra, I can assure you that those doubts have been put to bed. We've seen our elders here, our veterans have come, I have seen them, or some of them in Canada. We started our veterans because without them we wouldn't be here to start with. Without our veterans, our land would have been overrun by the Janjaweed Wahhabi Islamists. What they wanted to do after the war was to kill every male child. Yes. And only allow those from 10 years younger to survive. They will be forcibly converted to Islam, and our way of life and our people will be history. As I said yesterday and as I repeat today, the same thing they did to our people was what they wanted to do to us. But because of our veterans that fought with nothing for 3 years, to the amazement of the whole world, that we may be here today in Canada as people in the land of the living. The sacrifices they made is so unique that we have continued to make those sacrifices till this very day. Therefore, in keeping with the spirit of the moment, I will ask everybody here to stand up. We are going to observe 1 minute silence for those that died, that we may live. All our soldiers and our heroes that fought very gallantly for Biafra to still exist as a nation today with people in it. The time starts now. You may be seated, please. We have come that we may preach this very gospel. And I will start with the veterans, first of all. Before we came, before Chukwukikabiama determined that we should come, because we have not come by our own might nor power, there was nothing like 30th of May, Heroes Remembrance. Is this very great family, this same IPOB that introduced it? And we introduced it for a reason. For you to proceed in life, you must acknowledge the sacrifice of those who went before you. IPOB all over the whole world will remember our heroes every 30th of May of each year. That the spirit of those that fought and fell in battlefields all across Biafra land may accompany us on this very glorious journey towards our freedom as a people and as a nation. It is very, very unfortunate that most people don't understand the symbolism. But given the turnout here today, I am sure that 30th of May 2020 in Canada will be something exceptional. I have not come to make you happy. I have brought you very bad news. The news from back home is terrible. It is awful. As I speak to you now, we continue to make this sacrifice. We are fighting Fulani people
in Anambra. We are fighting them in Delta. We are fighting them in Ebonyi. And very soon we shall also start fighting them in Abia. This is the sort of news you don't read about. These are some of the things that IPOB is doing that I'm sure most of you here are not aware of. Those who go to defend our land are dying and are being killed. There is very little or no support at all. As our coordinator rightly pointed out, every fund we receive goes towards the front line to take care of families whose breadwinners are in prison, those killed, those who are being tortured, those who are being forced to deny who they are, those of them who are fighting for you and I. I know that some of us are removed. We are in Canada. I spoke to somebody earlier today, and I asked him, how do you feel being in Canada, not remembering the suffering of those who are at home, dying on a daily basis? Because I made it very clear to him there is a difference between us and white people. As you all know me, I speak the truth. It doesn't matter the audience, it doesn't matter what I am. Always I will tell you the truth. Some of us came to Canada and forgot that we have relatives at home. That some of you came to Canada by the divine grace of Elohim Chukwukikabiyama, that you may help support IPOB at this time to help liberate our home for all of us to go back to it. That is why you are here, but some of you have forgotten that. You think you came here by your own strength. You think you came here by your own ingenuity. That is not correct. You are here alive at this moment because of what we are doing. And that is why it is your responsibility, each and every one of you, to make sure you are part and parcel of this very noble family of IPOB. In whatever way you can support, we expect it. Because without you,